right now, or at least what we think we know right now. So to me, that kind of gets rid of, or at least messes with any kind of probabilities of it happening or not happening, because we can base it on what we know, and that's okay. But we have to also remember that there's a lot that we don't know. And so that's why I don't ever rule out any possibility, including the one that we could be encountering other species, other beings from other parts of the universe.
Yeah, well said. All of that. Yeah, it is odd. All of this is very strange. And like I said, pat on the back, we've considered a lot of this stuff already. And like I said, I was very pleased going through the list of this UFO Zeitgeist stuff. Are we good on Rumble? It seems like should be streaming out to Rumble. It says streaming. All right, you guys let me know. Appreciate the patience there. Like I said, I'm not sure what broke, but something broke recently with Rumble. But yeah, welcome to the joint. Everybody's welcome to pop on in here. Jorge on Discord. How you doing, buddy? We're here with James tonight, who's the birthday boy. Her birthday is tomorrow night. And we'll get I'm not sure who else has a hand up on Discord, but we'll get you in a sec. Jorge, welcome to the joint. Happy Friday. How are you, sir? Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Happy Friday. Happy birthday to whoever's birthday was.
James.
Which one? James' birthday.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I was gonna say, you heard about me say this before. It's like, I seriously think that the Orson Welles misinformation thing about the invasion from Mars was the beginning of the misconception of UFOs. Because like there have been UFOs like throughout history, right? Like even like Constantine probably saw a UFO and said it was Jesus, and everybody started fighting harder for him. Matenzio. And but like to these days, like we're still gonna know what they are. We probably will never know what they are. But I think the idea that they came from outer space, that was done on. It was kind of like a misinformation for us to try to understand what the philosophical implications that were implied by modern physics at that time. It definitely could have given us a clue as to what UFOs were. Like the Heisenberg principle, I think, is one of the edicts to understand what UFOs truly are. The fact that I don't think they come from outer space. I think they come from other kind of like dimension, time, space domains. And the Heisenberg principle denotes as to like, is there a presence? And if there's a presence, does it affect the environment around it? And UFOs certainly do not like to affect.
Yeah, just real quick, Jorge, you're cutting in and out. It doesn't sound like an internet thing. It sounds like a close to the mic thing, like a speakerphone sort of situation. I'm not sure if you can fix that, but we heard most of what you said, but you were kind of cutting in and out a little bit. Appreciate that if you can fix it. It's best to be on headphones, guys, or not speakerphone. I'm not sure if you are or not, just guessing from my audio file here. That's what I'm guessing is happening here. What's up? I see you guys in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of this. Shane, Blind Psychonaut, what's up, brother? Welcome to the chat here. Troubled Minds Friday, just doing what we do, talking about wild ideas, and specifically the UFO zeitgeist. Like I said, I think there's a ton of information here that really gets left off the table for some more exotic things for clickbait, or back to the well with Bob Lazar and Roswell and this type of thing. Now, and I'm not discounting those things entirely. I'm just saying that it is strange that a lot of this, dare I say, UFO propaganda kind of points back in a very specific direction and seems to circle over and over and over and over. What's up? Rumble's putting us on repeat. What? Seriously? Is Rumble really broken? My goodness gracious. Shane, are you there? Test 1, 2.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Loud and clear. Welcome to the joint. Happy Friday. What's on your mind with any of this? Go right ahead.
Well, first, I'm on speaker, so hopefully it sounds all right.
Okay, good enough. I didn't notice, so don't rat yourself out if it works. But anyway, go ahead. Headphones, Echo.
No. I think maybe some of the UFOs might be from like traveling space, but it just would take too long. I mean, just for us to go to Mars is what, like 9 months? And I mean, if you, I don't know if I'm pretty sure you guys heard of Project Serpo about the Ebens, and in there they talk about. Sounds like they didn't use well they said I think they said it took them like 7 months to get to their planet, but I don't think they dove into what kind of crafts they had. I think the majority of them are either using some type of wormhole, um, or interdimensional type travel. But yeah, I just think it's too long to travel uh through space unless you have you can jump like through wormhole and wormhole.
Yeah, definitely. Which again is probably the big one for me is that they're going to be here, like Jorge was saying too. They're probably here. They've probably always been here. Like, how do we define that becomes the question. How does that look scientifically going forward and in the modern day? Yeah, things are weird. And so I know many of you are familiar with the blackvault.com, which is John Greenwald Jr. And, you know, he's a polarizing guy because some people are like, nah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But he has collected 3.4 million FOIA government documents and archived them on his site here, the blackvault.com/document archive. The links will be in the description afterward if you guys are interested. I'm sure you know who he is. But the wild part is 3.4 million documents is a ton of information, probably more than a human analyst could ever go through in a lifetime. Okay. And so it's wild to me that maybe there's some gems in here, some actual specific direct answers to the questions we have that are just hidden, just buried in an ocean of data that we can't really peel out and really just say, well, this is the deal, right? Because if I don't know, I guess we'll eventually need AI systems, like I keep saying, to kind of go through that and peel out some granular data that makes some sense in a historical context, and maybe we'll start to get some answers. And that's the exciting part to me as we kind of move into this AI space, that maybe some of the things we've missed or actually been directly covered up might actually be accessible through some sort of AI findings mechanism or something like that. I see you guys in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Just doing what we do, just talking about stuff without the radio format, just talking about the UFO zeitgeist and what does it look like. So the question to start tonight is, do you think that it is more or less likely, greater or less than 50%, that the UFOs are from outer space, directly from outer space? Or do you think it's quite a bit more complicated? Now, if you've listened to Troubled Minds for any amount of time, you'll recognize, I think personally, it's quite a bit more complicated than that. But I'm also not the arbiter of truth. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And everybody's welcome. Put your hand up either on Discord or Twitter X, and we'll put you on the show. Read the chat in the other places. Thanks for being part of this. You guys go right ahead. Anything, James, on that? Or Shane, go ahead.
I wanted to add on. I think all the crafts we see are all multi, or however you want to call it, medium. They can go through different mediums, so they can go. I think they easily can go into space, water, our atmosphere, any type of medium. But like I said, I don't think a lot of them come directly from space, especially how big the craft, like some UFOs or things we see in the sky. Because we're talking like if you're gonna travel, like if we're gonna go to the closest star, like as we can travel, we're gonna need like a generational ship, like a huge ship. Now, could they be having like scout ships? Yeah, but you're gonna need a real big ship to travel that far. Plus, all the resources. If we're going off of what we think living beings need: water, food, energy. So yeah, I think it's like a pipe dream and it's like romanticized. Oh, we're gonna travel through space and go, to the closest star. But that's what I think the closest star is 4 light years, which is I don't even know how long in years. I don't know if any of you guys know that, but
I think the math is approximately like 85,000 years or something with current technology to get there, or it's something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how we're gonna get the resources just to get there to maintain. If it's humans doing it, like we have to worry about food, generational, like giving birth, families, the waste that we produce. I mean, I guess you can just dump it out in space like what we do now, but it's still, it's just, to me, it's just too slow.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody's welcome. Hop, go right ahead. I usually prompt you guys just because like radio timing and stuff and the rest, but just go ahead and chop it up. Just give each other space to talk, and you're good to go. Everybody's welcome. Twitter X, I see you there. Also, Discord is where most of the conversation is happening right now. But everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. Welcome, Daryl the Joint. We got Jorge here. What's up? Shane the Blind Psychonaut. James, the birthday boy tomorrow. And go ahead, Jorge. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't think even humans can handle that. Humans are not designed to travel. Humans are like, I think that we even have a veil. Like, I meditate, I got a good amount, and I can definitely feel that there's a veil. Sometimes I can see something, but I cannot really quite grasp it. So something has to pull me in to see it. Kind of like a god or a spirit or a daimon, kind of like Socrates says. But on my own, I cannot get there. And I think the space is pretty much the same thing. You cannot get there unless somebody actually takes you. Or at least, I don't know, that's my...
I did.
Well, humans aren't made, like physically, we aren't made to be in zero gravity, because even the ones at the, like the International Space Station, which is, I mean, barely out of our atmosphere, they have to exercise every day. They lose bone density, they lose muscle, fat, even it deals with our psyche. So I totally agree. Like, we're not made to be in zero gravity. And I mean, even with artificial gravity, it's still not the same as the natural gravity. So what would that look like if we're, like you said, Michael, like 85,000 years? I wonder what we would look like after that long. Like, would we change genetically, like the way we look? Maybe that's what we've done that. And maybe that's what some of the little grays are. You know, they're itty bitty with big heads. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, one of the theories on the grays, if you believe grays are real, whatever, you decide on that. But one of those theories is that they are some sort of cybernetic AI system that's been sent here from, and that part I could buy. So if we're going, okay, spacecraft from somewhere else, they would have to be basically non-biological entities, right? Because they die. I mean, you just can't live for 1 million years in space. So, which would suggest, by the way, they either knew that we would develop in 1 million years and sent a craft this way, right? Because it takes that long to get here, talking about the speed of light and that whole sort of cosmic filter there. But it would mean either that or that they just sent craft everywhere, all over the damn place. And let's say there's gray aliens in Alpha Centauri, not because they live there, because they're scouting that, checking to see what kind of life actually was part of it, right? And so who knows? Like, I can buy that some sort of non-human or non-biological thing, like a little robot, right? That makes more sense to me than some cryogen slumber. Shut up, Matt's on there. Yeah, as humans are not spacefaring creatures. That's a fact. And I would imagine that aliens aren't either, because aliens certainly, again, squint with the mind's eye, I don't really know, but you would guess theoretically they didn't, they weren't born and evolved in space. Well, unless they were, that's a whole other problem, isn't it?
Well, one thing I've always thought about, if we were trying to reach light speed, how would you deal with like debris, asteroids, in your path? Like, if you hit it at light speed, like I've heard some theories where you can possibly go through it, but I mean, obviously we don't know, but you know what I mean? Like, you're traveling at light speed, and to detect a little micro piece of sand, dust, whatever, would do some major damage at that speed. So, like, how do you travel at that speed without hitting things? I've always wondered that, or like planets, I don't know. I always thought I think that's why it's near impossible to do that.
Yeah, totally. The Han Solo quote comes to mind, right? Talking to Luke Skywalker. What do you say? Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dusting crops, boy. Without the precise, what do you say? Navigational computations, we might fly right into a supernova or something like that, right? I mean, I would think, okay, so if we're talking that level of next, like actually the speed of light style travel, I would think you phase out, right? Like, I'm not sure you could hit something at that speed. Right? Because of course you're taking mass and sort of boiling it down to photons. But I guess photons hit the Earth. I don't know. I guess I'm not really thinking it through here. But basically, traveling through space, hyperspace, you know, like Dustin Crops boy. And not to call you boy, just a quote. But yeah, we're just talking tonight, hanging out, doing UFO stuff and whatever else comes to mind. I was going down a checklist, and it dawns on me that we've kind of covered a ton of this stuff, a ton of the most wild and weird angles regarding UFOs, which we started with bias toward modern encounters, assumption of extraterrestrial origins, ignored patterns and witness demographics, which might be, you know, blood types or different, let's say, geography. Who knows? And of course, this was a big one for us: dismissal of esoteric or paranormal overlaps. We've talked about that a lot, and I got a list of like 20 or 30 things here. There's a ton of them. We've basically checked off most of these just in the Troubled Minds conversation. Like I said, hey, shout out, fam. We're doing a good job, at least, leaving no stone unturned as far as these, as I like to call them, philosophical constructs go. So yeah, just kind of talking about it as a group here and hanging out and doing what we do. You guys are welcome. Daryl, I see you there. You want to hop back in, or Jorge, anybody else? James, go right in. I'm going to shut my mouth and see what happens here.
Well, let's assume that they're here. Let's say they're underwater. Let's say they've been here for, a billion years, and they know how to, they know they're the ones who've built the tunnels, or they're underground. They know how to live underground. They know when a catastrophe will arrive to the planet, and they go underground, or they go into the water, into the ocean somehow, and they're safe there. I don't know. They must know the angle on which an asteroid will hit the planet, and they'll go to the side of the planet that's safe. I think they're smart enough to make that kind of those decisions. And I'm just thinking like crazy stuff. Like maybe they are in control. Like they're the the deep state, and they're really running everything already. Possibly. And why did, suddenly, like, I'm questioning, I don't want to get you taken off, but like Trudeau just quit. I heard King Charles made this crazy announcement, and then it got rescinded about giving up their sovereignty in England. Like, and we've got to become a one world government. And are they using UFOs now as their last resort? Like the pandemic didn't quite work, but maybe the UFO thing will work, and that we have to unite as one planet because we're going to be us against the aliens, and this is their false flag. Get that one the the new world government in. Anyway, I had that on my mind, and I delivered this stuff like in my YouTube feeds. So I guess they just feed it to me. I guess they know what I'm thinking about.
They like your algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
They got my number, But what do you think about that? Like, is that a coincidence? Is this their last chance to try to take over the planet? Because everything else didn't quite work the way they were hoping. I don't know, but there's like something about this planet, and there's something about archaeology that seems to be awakening. Like these megaliths are definitely older and getting older and older and bigger, and the footprints they're finding are from gigantic humans, and like we've been here for such a long time, and why don't they want us to know this? And who are the giants? And did they downsize themselves? Were they in charge? Like, did they clone themselves into being smaller? Or did they evolve to be smaller because the planet, got less, the elements they needed to live so long? Why did they live so long? Why did the Bible, how did they live so long back then when they were perhaps giants and live 1,000 years, which is kind of like being immortal, especially if you're married, can you imagine?
Wait.
It's our 500th anniversary.
Absolutely. We got Jason Barker here.
Kids?
Yeah, exactly. Hang tight. Just let me introduce these other guys, and it's back to you. The real Jason Barker, what's up? We got Jorge still here. What's up? Blind Psychonaut, how you guys doing? What's up, James? Happy birthday, boy, tomorrow. Ricky over there on Twitter X, thanks for popping in and testing that. Good evening, Jason Barker. What's up? Back to Daryl. You guys just chop it up. I'm going to shut my mouth. Thanks for being part of this. Happy Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I like that he brought up, how do they go to warp speed and not hit anything or hit a planet or smash into something? Or maybe that plasma thing is a protective like shield, but they have to use some sort of wormhole. I think they have the technology to create a wormhole or create a portal. And that portal protection, probably gives them a cloaking shield. It seems like if you could think about it, it can happen. And maybe outer space is just manipulated by mind control. I don't know,
anything is possible.
Anything's possible.
As they say.
It can happen.
What's up, Ricky? What's up, Ricky?
It's like the universal consciousness will remove any particles from being in your way because you're thinking them away. You have like this kind of telekinesis power. You get magic superpowers, suddenly you become superhuman or super whatever. Maybe they had, like the gods had special powers, the sun god, this, if they had wars, they were fighting amongst each other with their superpowers. So maybe, who knows, magic happens. I mean, possible alchemy. Maybe there's something with alchemy that's so brilliant. I mean, there's something about physics that we don't know, that like we just don't know. Like, how did we lose that knowledge? Like we were able to lift heavy objects, but also we were giants, so we were able to lift those heavy objects because they were small to us. They weren't huge. When you're gigantic, I mean, because that explains a lot, actually. The giant theory, which I kind of like.
Well, you should check out Coral Castle, the guy that single-handedly built that. There was some technology, but as far as UFOs, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying he's like, that guy, he was like 5 foot, 90 pounds in Coral Castle.
Right. Yep.
His name was Edward Witzkalman.
But
and he had like a 2-ton doorway that you could just like push with your pinky and it would swing. Like the guy, he was a genius in engineering. But on the UFO thing, everything I wanted to talk about, you guys already covered. But I'd like to chime in on it just for a bit to give my thoughts. So if we're talking about they're from like outer space, okay. Number one, for the time that a society gets to the point that they can travel, we would either not be alive or we'd be dead by the time they saw, they're observing out there where's places to go, or, as Mike had hinted to, maybe they went out and went out to, these are possible places, which is kind of a suicide mission for these guys. And how much resources got to go into that, not only to build the craft, but to travel, and the amount of time, their generational ships, just to go out there and maybe, turn up nothing, because obviously it takes how many hundreds of thousands of light years or millions of light years to even notice that there's a place that could possibly have life. But if you leave right now, by the time you get there, that life possibly has evolved from a primordial ooze into a technological society, to a space race society, to now they're dead and wiped out. The other thing that I think about is time travel. It could be us from the future or the past. So actually there's 4 things. It could be time travel of some sort that's us from the future, or us from the past. Who knows what technology we had from the past, that people had some kind of cataclysm and come, and they're trying to come here now to escape it. Then there is that these craft are actually extraterrestrial, but they're from within our solar system or somewhere very close by. which makes more sense if you're traveling the distance. And then the fourth thing is that they've always been here, and then they go into hiding, like underground or something, which there's a lot of evidence to suggest that. But my whole thing is, and this is the question I want to throw to the whole group, is the why. Okay, why would you show up and, do anal probes or whatever? And I'm kind of joking here, but, you do all these weird things. Yeah, why would you do that and then not just say, hey, we're here for this reason? I tend to think it's more us, being a prior military guy, this is us testing stuff to see what we can get away with. And that's just my opinion on it, just looking at all the different, it's one of two things. It's either us doing stuff that we really don't understand or we're trying to test it, or it's some entity that's been here, maybe from before, if you're a biblical guy, before the time of Noah, they went into hiding before the flood. We talk about Atlantis and advanced technologies and things like that. If these folks went underground and developed their technology further, who knows what they could be right now? And they might be coming out to kind of peep out and see, feel the situation to see if it's time to come out yet or not. I don't know. I was throw it out there for everyone to talk about.
Right.
Yeah, if you look at they say that the Earth has been reset probably like 6 times over the millennia, and possible, like you said, maybe an ancient society of before one of the last one. Of course, the last one, the Younger Dryas theory. If you believe that, about 12,000 years ago, it reset again and everything went back. They had to start over again. So the possibility of it for sure is there. Go ahead.
There's archaeological evidence to support that as well, because I remember off the coast of Okinawa when I was stationed out there, there's a popular diving spot where it's obviously that there was some huge structure, and you can look at the tectonic plate movements and stuff like that. To be underwater where it is, because it's a diving location that people go look at. In order for it to be underwater where it is, it had to have existed before our current science says humans existed. So, and then we found really weird mechanical devices that no one can know what they do, or it seems like some kind of navigation device or time device. It's very intricate, like Swiss watch kind of intricacy, that they carbon dated, and it predates humanity. So the reset thing makes sense, Yep.
Yeah, one thing time is getting older and older. Every time they find another site, and even with the mainstream archaeological society, pushing back, and if you go against the norm, you get blacklisted and looked down on. You lose funding, but they're still finding spots, and they're still getting pushed back on it. And of course, like Göbekli Tepe and the other side over there in Turkey, they found is even older than it. What they're finding is so much older, and the potential, even with the pyramids and, the Sphinx being over 12,000 to 24,000 years old. But yeah, it does make sense that there was something going on, and maybe maybe the world was a little different. You look at back in biblical time, in the Bible time, it was talking about that the earth was different before the flood, and that's what caused the longer lifespans. After the flood, the lifespans went down, the size of the humans went down and stuff like that. But which of course we've seen over the years, a lot of cover up on giants and stuff. Anytime you say the word giants, it's just so taboo, and they'll dispose of it. It's kind of like if it don't fit in their little box, it's like the Smithsonian threw all those mammoth tusks and stuff in the Hudson River. I don't know if y'all heard about that. Just trying to cover them up, but the guy that owned the tusk and stuff told everybody, told people where it was, go to look, and people went down in the Hudson River and found mammoth tusk and saber-toothed tiger heads and stuff, and it's crazy how much is getting covered up, and how much that we don't know is getting covered up through over time.
Yeah, I'd never heard that one. Well, that's wild. I'll have to look into that real quick. Just a quick shout out there, Hyperborean Sun. What's up? I see you on X. Sorry, I didn't follow you. I followed you back right now. What's up? Thanks for always retweeting our stuff and whatnot. I thought I was following you for a long time. Go ahead. Whoever was about to chime in there.
It's me. I was going to say I'm a religious guy, and I believe in the Bible, and the Bible talks about pre-flood, and post-flood, and that pretty much is two iterations of society, and there's a lot of archaeological evidence to show this, and there's the giant skeletons and all kinds of other stuff that we're finding. I personally saw this, and I'll give a short story if I can, real quick. In the was it Shawnee National Forest, where my great grandmother lived. I went down there, and down in this creek we used to play in had some bedrock. Okay, and in the bedrock was these little, I don't know what they're called. They're kind of like little crustacean kind of creatures that live in the ocean. And then right next to, and there was like there were fossils, right? And then right next to them was like a maple leaf. And that kind of proves to me that there was a flood, because if these things got buried together under a layer of sediment, then there had to be a catastrophic event that happened for those to be encased right next to each other. And this just wasn't one little finding. This was all over this bedrock that was exposed in this creek. So that's really easy for me to believe that there was another world before, and then it was catastrophically destroyed, and then a new world. So let's rewind it and say, well, how do we know that didn't happen time and time again? And that goes back to the going back to the UFO theory, or the theme or whatever. How do we know we didn't have a very advanced civilization maybe 5 iterations before, and they learned that there was a disaster coming? And there's tons and tons. If you watch Ancient Aliens, they've talked about this. They've found these massive tunnels underground where people were, it was set up for people to live there, for livestock and everything, to be able to be like self-sustaining for a long period of time. Who knows how old that is?
Exactly.
Yeah, well said.
I don't know.
Yeah, the evidence is there that the giant evidence, and they're finding bigger and bigger, megalithic structures in different parts of the world, under the water, everywhere, and like I was listening to actually Jason Quinn on Jimmy Church's show last night, I think it was, and he was talking about a lot of stuff, like the some of the megalithic statues, for example. Oh, and the Tartaria guys are talking about, why do these like David's Michelangelo is so perfect? Did these people have technology to freeze people or to put them into stone? Like, maybe there weren't artists that really did that. They just had a way to turn people into stone.
I love that. But like the Medusa technology.
What?
Like the Medusa technology, like right?
Right.
So Medusa would look at people and turn them to stone. So maybe
turn them into stone or marble.
Yeah,
like a really skilled one. The skilled ones can turn you into marble. And they found, because they found DNA inside a statue of a Buddhist, like a monk. It looked like Buddha. And they actually found human DNA inside the statue. Like, he was encased in a statue. They buried him in a statue. Like, that was weird. Like, I'm like, oh my God, maybe they can.
Well, maybe they aren't statues. Maybe they were fossilized evidence that they found, and then put on display. We
statues. Yeah, they weren't meant to be statues. They were fossils.
Yep.
No, but the Pompeii were not. No, those were
petrified. There you go.
I've been to Pompeii. Those were not like presentable like a statue. They weren't art. They were, you know what I'm saying? That was a phenomenon with the ash, that they were just like caught in time, and
Yeah, the pyroclastic flows. That's what got them.
That, but it wasn't like a display of art like Michelangelo, or which is like out there in the public, like down in this, the center of Florence. It's not like behind glass or anything, and it's magnificent, but it's so perfect. Like, maybe and the terracotta soldiers. He was speculating that they were real people under those terracotta soldiers that were turned to stone. And they had some technology to turn you into stone. Maybe this. Well, that's. Yeah.
Like you're talking about, it sounds like I said, petrification, because that you can do that with. We can do that. We already can do that with technology. It's through like high voltage. I don't know how the full
Oh, really?
how it works, but it's like electricity and but that's
Wax? Like what? You know, what would you, I mean, they found DNA of a human in one of the statues of something very old.
well, in the petrified forest, they have animals that are petrified along with organic, like trees, organic, and which that's always thought that was kind of weird, petrified forest, because it's either you have to be like encased without like oxygen elements or a high electrical like current. And when the settlers when the settlers walked upon it in like the 1800s, I think that's when we discovered it. I mean, the whole forest was above ground, like, so there's a theory there was some huge type of electrical storm or cosmic storm that caused the petrification of that forest. But like I said, we know how to do it now. It takes a lot of energy, but that could be some of the statues, like a punishment back then. I don't know, like, you know, you murdered someone, so zap. But one thing that drives me nuts about the megaliths is with mainstream archaeology, they always try to like date it, but with carbon dating, but we can't carbon date rock. We just organic material. So like the pyramids, or like someone brought up the Sphinx, where, you know, they claim it was built 4 or 5,000 years ago, but then there's water erosion that shows it's 10 to like 15,000 years.
Right.
So yeah, so even though the pyramids, it just, I don't know. I think what drives me nuts is when they excavate somewhere and they find like bones or pottery or some type of organic material, it's like, oh, that's how old this place is. But then, like someone else said earlier, the dates of our time keeps going back further and further. I mean, we need to find a better way to date things instead of just like.
I think I was gonna say I think they, you know, it's kind of like they just get to the point of where they go down in the settlement to the point of where they want to be, and then they stop. You know, it's like right now they have only excavated only 5% of Göbekli Tepe, but they don't want, they're like just on hold for whatever reason.
I think they're trying to cover that up, right?
Sites,
just real quick on that.
Sites,
sorry, go ahead, Ricky. Go ahead, Ricky. My bad. I cut you off.
Oh, it's okay. I was gonna say a lot of ancient sites are built on top of other, even more ancient sites. You know, we do the same thing nowadays. We take a site and we either build on top of it, or like, you know, our house we add on, you know, whatever. So a lot of the sites were built. Part of it was built more times, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, but the actual, you know, and then if you look into them, like you know, those stones are like 5 tons or something like that. But then you look the stones below it are like 200 tons. You can tell it was completely the type of technology or workmanship, I'd say, actually probably a better term. You know, the workmanship is, you could see it was a different quality, a different means, and it was, so you could tell it was 2 different people. But, you know, of course, a lot of times they just want to put it all. It's easy, you know. It's easy. Let's put them all in one here. It's all as one group. Yeah, that's right. That's it.
But that's
2,000 years ago. That's it. We're good.
One of the holdbacks is you find a nice archaeological dig, right, like a city or something, and more they are finding. You know, you don't want to like ruin the site, so that you dig down so far and you get your artifacts and you catalog them. You try to piece them together. You try to date them, all that stuff. Well, they don't know there might be 2 or 3 cities under that city that were destroyed. And they've been finding this out. The problem is when it comes to science, archaeology, all this other stuff, these professional science white coat people, if you come up with something that literally goes against what's been written, like published people that their entire careers are based on their findings, and it's like law now, it's like it's it is the bee's knees. This is how it went. If you find something that contradicts that, you're not very easily welcome into the community. And a lot of times they push that shit to the side. That stuff to the side. Sorry, Mike.
You're good. We're not on the radio.
Oh,
we can
look what they've
F-bomb all
done
day.
with Graham Hancock. Like
they get
the mainstream.
They
Yeah,
get blacklisted and they
it?
get pseudoscience put on their titles, and people get on Wikipedia and just try to ruin them.
But they're
because
putting
they ask
together a
questions.
magazine. Sorry, they're putting together like a magazine. All these other like kind of fringe archaeologists, Jason Quick, Graham Hancock, and they're going to publish a free newsletter of what they've been finding and what their opinions are. And they're, kind of getting together and uniting, which is a great idea, and put this stuff in writing and make it free for everybody. Because what they found is very compelling. And, they're found all worldwide. So, certain things are measured by certain, I can't tell you the exact inches, like this is like, this many inches apart for this statue that was found in Egypt as well as in South America. And it's that distance from the moon is the same measurement. So it's all sacred geometry. It's all mathematical and it's logical and it's found worldwide. They must have existed on a global level because they're found, like even the statues are found. They're so similar, they're so similar that you'd swear it was almost done by the same artist. And they're totally worlds apart. And assumingly, they were not able to travel to other continents. But I think we don't know that. I think they were very mobile and global. It could have been one big landmass. Also, they're talking about how the continents shift. Eventually, we're going to wind up reuniting with the landmass and being one big landmass, and you'll be able to walk to China or walk to Australia.
Back to Pangea or whatever it is, right? Quick shout out to what's up, Bravo 85 and LIC there on X. Hyperborean Sun posted this, and this is what I was about to talk about. So Jimmy Corsetti on X at Bright Insight 6 posted this. He's been digging into this for some time now, but he says the WEF, that's the World Economic Forum, has infiltrated the world's oldest, largest, and most mysterious ancient structure. Göbekli Tepe will not be fully excavated. More than 100 T-pillars that contain answers to our lost past will remain underground indefinitely. So apparently the World Economic Forum owns that land, I guess. And so Jimmy Corsetti has been doing
disgusting.
Yeah, and so this is a massive ancient cover-up. For what reason? I mean, something like the World Economic Forum really doesn't seem like they would need like an ancient site like this, unless, of course, like exactly, they want to hoard information. The wizards of old are sort of disallowing knowledge to kind of pass to the future, to us, to the current let's say just population, because we have a problem here. We have a problem of not just, let's say, knowledge, but we have a problem of censorship. And in this case, it's temporal censorship. And I meant to bring this up a long time ago. I saw this this is probably 3 months ago. Jimmy Corsetti was doing this. He did a whole series on this. I'll drop it in the chat if you guys want to check this out. I encourage you to. But the whole idea is that they're hiding information from us, and it could be, dare we say, magic from the past. So thank you for dropping that to Hyperborean there. I appreciate that. I was about to say exactly that, but I wanted to let you guys give you some space to talk. But I'll shut up. Go ahead.
They say that it was to preserve for future, archaeology.
It's part of that.
That's why
I heard it's about money, really, because if they excavate the entire site, then the tourists.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, that's what they're claiming.
They think it's going to end the tourists. I don't see it ended the tourists going to make it. I think you'd have more people there. The more you can see, the more you'd want to go. But that's
the YouTuber Bright Insight. He even made an episode about this, but he actually concentrated more on Gunung Padang, which now that our PhD is saying that site is 25,000 years old.
I was going to bring that up.
It's twice as old as Göbekli Tepe. Right. And then the guy made some research and said, the Economic Forum is also in charge of this. and they're now planning to excavate nothing, not a single rock. Nothing's going to get lifted from there, according to the government, because according to the guy that works for the Economic Forum, he says that is the last of my priority.
Last of their priorities.
It's a global cover up for some reason, and there one thing that I had wrote down. I'm typing notes as we go along here, just so I won't forget. But it's like the biggest. I think the biggest travesty I see in other than like stuff like that, where the WC is just completely just not letting stuff happen, is like different groups don't talk together. If more people, if more geologists come together with archaeologists and work together, you could come together and let's bring it.
Yeah.
This you could pinpoint these people, but instead of just saying, well, my narrative is this, and I think it's going to be this, and when you bring this over here, it contradicts it. So instead of let's figure out when it actually was, they just dismiss it and don't even want to talk to each other. It's just you would think science would want to, fact check and in multiple ways and come in there in different angles, and that way you can find the actual truth out of it all. But they don't do that in archaeology. They won't really use geology and stuff like that. They just, if they find some food or whatever, and carbon dating is this, that's it. It's set. It's kind of sad, to see that.
We want our governments to tell us the truth. We want disclosure from our government. Like, we can't depend on our government to tell us the truth about anything. Why are we dependent on them to enlighten us? They're not gonna. As long as who's in control here, I think we know who's in control. That I don't know if they're being controlled by anybody. Maybe maybe they are aliens. I don't know.
Yeah.
As a Mexican, I can tell you that whoever's in control is the one that pays the government the money.
The money. It's all about money.
I'm about to say that. Follow the money. I always follow the money.
Guys, is the guy watching some of those episodes of like CIA going into Latin America to exploit natural resources and put the countries in debt? And that is why you have immigrants at the border, because put them in debt, and where are they gonna? Where are they gonna go? Yeah.
They want to trash America. They don't care if Americans are here.
Yeah, they create third world countries. They go in there and destroy. They overturn their leaders and create.
They know how to overturn governments,
and then turn around and it's just.
I can tell you now, it's multi-layered. So the first people that are up there in that second layer of the pyramid, if you want to look at like a pyramid chart, those people want the money, right? So you can follow the money to find out who's controlling them. But what do they want? They want the power. But who controls them? That's the real question. A lot of people think it's spiritual. Some people think it's aliens. Another race that lives in the hollow earth. I mean, there's a lot of theories on it. But yeah, everyone has a motivator.
You guys know this? The original founder of the Smithsonian put in his will when he died. He I don't know how much, I forget how much money it was, but he set aside a large sum of money to have people to go find and explore inner Earth.
Oh, really? How much money?
Yeah. I don't know.
And
this was back in like the 1800s.
And how do we get this money and start an expedition?
Yeah.
Right.
What are we going to do is to dig into, to explore inner Earth? I've heard that we already have had encounters with inner Earth beings that are not human and had been, like fighting with them. And somebody died and they killed a few. And it was just by taking an elevator down by Area 51 or something like that.
Well, there's Native American cave paintings and rock paintings and carvings that actually show, and the Ancient Aliens talks about this, another race that went underground and took them with them and then brought them back. And it's kind of a legend. I'm not an expert on it, but there's a lot of people. And yeah, the ant people, there you go. And it's not exclusive to Native Americans here in, Southwest USA, but it's actually around the globe. There's evidence of this, or, at least recording of it.
I'll say Project High Jump. They is said that they had, a fight with, underground.
Yeah, beneath the Antarctica, right?
Yeah, they came up from the waters and through the ice or something like that.
Yeah. If you believe that stuff, as usual, look, so I'm willing to see all sides of this, and if that stuff's fake, that's fine. But thinking about it and how this fits into the world we live in is really the point here. Shout out everybody on X. Thanks for popping in. And also Nick Hunter, UFO Chronicles podcast, for the repost. He's not here, but thank you for the repost. If you guys are new to the conversation, everybody's welcome. Friday nights, we're just doing kind of a get together, talk about everything. We're usually on the radio, typically Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. But Friday nights, we're just doing a get together and talk to each other, get to know each other without radio formats, bumper music, and commercials and all this stuff. We're just talking. So, and of course, in this particular instance, we're talking technological reductionism as far as it goes with UFOs. And how does that fit? Of course, wide ranging, all manner of ideas play here. And that's exactly the point. So if you guys want to, everybody's welcome. If you want to put your hand up and pop in here, you're welcome to on Discord or on X. I see you there. Thanks for being part of this, and thanks for listening. Thanks for holding it down on all the chats out there. But yeah, go right ahead. What else do we got? Tons of stuff here. And I think that's part of the problem, right? Is there's so many data points when you start to look at the UFO phenomenon itself, big P phenomenon, is that we have so much stuff that kind of might fit, but then there's going to be some stuff that clearly doesn't. But the obfuscation effect from the government, and as Daryl said earlier, how the hell are we going to believe the government trying to give us any amount of disclosure when they're like putting poison in our food through the FDA, right? Like that type. It's like, seriously, this is the government we're trusting to tell us what UFOs are. Come on. But yeah, as usual, nonlinear, open-ended, take it anywhere you like. That's the whole point of these conversations, is getting together and talking. Go ahead.
Let me pop in there real quick, Mike. So if you take a look right now, the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund, all these organizations, they're pretty much one of the same, right? Centered around the UN. Every single Western nation, whether they're at war with each other or not, are doing the same exact thing in lockstep. Every single one, they are. Right now, it's a big money laundering thing for people to acquire assets. That's what all these wars are about. Right. And, I go through this in my show. I know this isn't a political show here, but the thing is, I think they all know the same thing. They all know the same thing that we don't know, us little plebes on the ground. And maybe, something's coming, and maybe this underground society or people from the future or people from a nearby planet are coming here to warn us, but they don't know who to put in charge. So, we're kind of warring it out between ourselves about who's going to be the boss on the playground. And maybe that's what's going on here. But obviously, they all know the same thing, because every single incident, whether it be COVID or whatever, economic things, CBDC, the CO2 emission stuff, all this stuff, every single Western nation that has any kind of technology whatsoever is doing the exact same thing. So they know something that we don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah. But you know what? There's more of us than them, first of all. There's a small amount of them and a ton of us. And they don't want to be in the minority, but they are in the minority. They want the power. But
they might have the communication. They might have that communication with what we're talking about right now. They might have that communication that, and they're hiding it from us because they're all bickering amongst themselves about who's going to be the top dog in the playground. And that's why we don't get to know what's going on. That may be why they're hiding things, because they're kind of, they're like, okay, we know we have to do this. Everyone has to do this thing, but I want to be in charge when it's done. I want to be the main stakeholder. I think maybe that's what's going on. If these UFOs are not actually, man-made from China and US, testing their stuff out. If this is something outside of the population that we know of on this planet, they're kind of probably pooping their pants right now. They're like, okay, we got to do what they say, because everyone's doing the same thing, but they're bickering amongst themselves about who's going to be in charge of it all. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think if they don't know what we're dealing with, but they're predicting, or they know what's coming, or they know we're going to be dealing with it and some sort of alien race, but they won't tell us, because they want to be in charge. They want to be in control. And they know that we'll still outnumber the aliens, even if they're not coming here to hurt us. First of all, I think anything that happens with aliens, there's not going to be any kind of evidence that's real. It's all going to be made up. They're going to use it to their advantage. They're going to weaponize it to get control over us, to get us to be afraid. They'll use it. They might do something very, very like dangerous, to a large area, just to show the power of, these advanced civilizations that are visiting us, what they can do to us, and how they need an ambassador and they have to negotiate. And it's best to stay, lock up, stay in your homes, don't come out. It's very dangerous. They're going to kill you. We're going to protect you, but you got to stay in your house and you got to take this medicine and, this anti-alien medicine.
Oh no, the comet juice or whatever to keep from turning into maximum overdrive. Quick shout out, John.
Hail Bob Kool-Aid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
John,
Yeah,
quick,
take this booster.
Exactly. Just real quick. Give me just a second here. Shout out John 5B over on Rumble. Appreciate the generous tip. He says this: Jason got me thinking of trilobites. Dad gave me a rock pick as a kid, and we would go to quarries and rock slides, etc., to look for trilobite fossils. They're everywhere. The one I have is bigger than my head. Damn. Appreciate the tip, John. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Go right ahead. Just wanted to, if you're nice enough to tip me, we got to read the comment. Fantastic stuff. Yeah. You guys tell me, as usual, right? Nonlinear, open-ended, these conversations are wild, and that's part of it and why we get together and talk about this. So this is going to be Friday night from now on, God willing, cross your fingers, where we just get together and talk to each other. So I'm Michael Strange, of course, for the new folks I see in the chat there. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for enjoying the conversation. And I'm going to shut my mouth now and let everybody else take over. What else you got? Whoever, jump right in and try not to step on each other too much. Go ahead.
I'll say I absolutely agree with you, Daryl, because that's what truly I think is going to happen is they're going to use this situation and, just like, back when we went to, after 9/11, we did the Patriot Act or like, 91, we had the weapons of mass destruction. We went to Iraq and stuff like that. Same things. We've, the government's done false flags for forever.
Yeah.
It's now a lot of it, it's, declassified and we can look at it, it happened 40, 50 years ago. Vietnam was, the Tompkins Bay incident didn't happen, stuff like that, over and over again. So absolutely agree, that, that's, if anything, that's what it's going to be. But, on a flippy side, I've had this sitting here since we were talking about earlier, to go back to the alien side and like the grays and stuff like that. What if let's throw this out here just like throwing a ball out in the field, if you watched the original Star Trek movie, and it was the Voyager was going out there and it actually got incorporated with AI and became, an actual being and came back looking for, its creator or whatever. It makes you, maybe some kind of our ancient technology from way back, in the past when we were so much smarter and it, it's gone around and maybe he's reached something and actually coming back to us. And maybe this is our technology, we come full circle, came back to us, but of course we're a different group of people now from when that technology was here. And maybe like you said, like if you were just traveling to space and if you're not using wormholes or portals or something like that, and you've got to take a long time distance, then like an Android living system, like a lot of UFOologists, I guess you go, they say like the grays are like, kind of drone, like a drone being. They're not actual a living being. They're a drone. So that would make sense. You'd have a drone type being to go travel around and go back and go back to check stuff, especially if it's, our technology from 30,000 years ago traveling back, and now they're coming back to report, maybe, and maybe they are reporting, and they're just not letting us, the powers that be are not letting us see what they're reporting. They're not going.
Let me throw.
Not going to tell us everything.
Let me throw this. let me throw this out.
Yes, sir.
Now scientists are saying that the universe, or reality, is a simulation, right? So if we can assume that theory to be correct for a minute, or we can contemplate it, where do UFOs fit into? And then I think about this in kind of like a Greek term. Kind of like, the first god or titan was Chronos, which just means time. So in a way, I'm thinking about it in this perspective. There was one great programmer, Chronos, who was the one that kept the time clock of the program whatever the heck you wanted, or destroy whatever the heck you wanted based on his program. Then there was this other god who came along and he said, no, wait a minute, I want to mess with your program because I am part of that program, so I want to take over it. Zeus. So Zoom comes along and then he says, you know what, I'm going to avenge all the other programs that you killed, and I'm going to bring them back so we can fight against your program, or against your program, against you and your other programmer, which is like the Titomachia. And so what if that is why they're hiding all the, the powers that be are hiding all of it? Because we're all programmers. Because we all have the ability to program this universe, but it is the older ones that have the greater power to control the program. And so if we're able to tap into the older program, then we can change reality. And so what do you guys think about that theory? Is it two-way out there?
I like it.
Well, we know that DNA can hold and obviously transmit data. They're making I know they're attempting to make like DNA computers. DNA, from what I read, I could be wrong, but can hold like petabytes of data. So that's extremely odd that you can break it down into readable data like ones and zeros. And like, why is that? Like, if it's not some type of program, computer program, simulation, why would DNA do that? And DNA is obviously the building blocks of everything that's living. There's another thing you guys brought up about the leaders of the world. Like, now, I don't know if any of you guys follow the Farsight Institute with Courtney Brown. They did a remote viewing on these files called the Lasertov files. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but back in like the early 90s, supposedly, I think it was a German not investigator, but like a journalist that somehow got in contact and was able to have like do a couple interviews with a reptilian being, but it wasn't an alien because from what this reptilian said, that they live underground to stay away from humans, but they also can control humans, and a lot of them are like in government and authority figures, and that they also have psionic ability to cloak themselves to make humans see what they want them to see, if that makes sense. So I don't know if you guys have heard of the Lasertov files. You can find it online. It's pretty wild. And the two things I wanted to kind of go back on. One, if you guys, I brought it up a few months ago, but if you guys want to read a book that will convince you about Atlantis, you guys should read, I don't remember the author, but it's called A Dweller on Two Planets. And there's like this 18-year-old kid that back in the late 1800s said he supposedly was channeled by a a ghost or a spirit that lived in Atlantis. And I mean, this kid was from the Wild Wild West, like 1890, 1880, something like that. And he's talking about like anti-grav machines, like cell phones, computers, internet. Pretty wild. If you that's a recommend read. And then going back to earlier, what Michael said about the CIA and and I don't remember who had all those FOIA files.
John Greenwald Jr.
But okay, yeah. The CIA's they drop a lot of like you said, some good nuggets out there. One, when they drop files, they drop like thousands and tens of thousands at a time. So I don't think they expect us to dig through all of them. But I mean, just look at like when they drop all the files in the early 2000s about the Stargate program, about remote viewing and a lot of the cybernetic warfare during the Cold War with Russia. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that they talk about. The experiments they did, like telekinesis, remote viewing, out of body. And there's another one that they dropped that I know it doesn't sound wild, but there's a document that talks about Nikola Tesla being an extraterrestrial, which is kind of crazy, but you can find it.
Why not? Why not? I got your data here. So, a dweller on two planets.
Can I?
Let me just fill in.
Can I throw something out there?
Yeah, let me fill in the gap here. So
sorry,
he didn't know the author, so I'm going to tell everybody the author in case you want to look. A dweller on two planets attributed to Philos the Thebetan and transcribed by Frederick Spencer Oliver, and it is about it seems like it is the New Age sort of beginning of Mount Shasta and that Lemurian stuff, but first person account of Atlantean society through channeling. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know if people know, but when we defeated Hitler in World War II, all the scientists, instead of being executed and tried, they were brought over here in Operation, was it Paperclip? I think it was. There was obviously something going on over there that we brought them over here, and we became immediately technologically superior. And I forget why that came to my mind, but it was something that... was it blind psych whatever? Look at your name here on Discord. Yeah, James. All right. Yeah, you mentioned something that brought that to my mind. Oh, okay. But something you said brought that to my mind, and it's like, well, there has to be some there. If we brought all these people over, and all of a sudden it became, or was it World War? It was World War II, right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
We brought all these. Yeah, we brought them over here, and then all of a sudden we were putting rockets in space, and we're making nuclear reactors, and high-tech aircraft, the supersonic aircraft. All this stuff is happening, and Area 51 comes around. It's like there has to be some there. And where did Germany get that technology? Because they were kind of like a nobody, and they just got it from nowhere, right? And then they were kind of overreached their bounds to try to take over too much territory, and they kind of sold themselves short, and then we came in and took over, whatever, we knocked them out. But why did we save those people? There has to be something behind the scenes. And going back to the UFO thing, this kind of lends credence to the UFO stuff. Is like, here it's our technology, something that we have that we've built based off of technology they're trying to hide because they want to have the higher ground or the higher power. I still kind of like the idea of like the secret ant people, that are down there, that are kind of warning us, and maybe we're battling it out for who's going to be in charge when it's all over. But, in reality, to put it like in the easiest terms, maybe there's just some technology out there they're trying to hide. I mean, you can go look through patents all day long and see people have free energy devices. They have cars that run on water. All this stuff's being suppressed for that power over people. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I just looked up.
Can I comment to that? The first thing that you said, why did they bring him over here? That's because of military technology. That was because of the rocket. Because they knew that the nation, Russia, USSR. And so that's why they brought German national to...
You're breaking up pretty bad.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why. I got headphones.
Get close to the mic. Get as close as possible. Not don't lick it or anything. But I think
as far as I know, as far as conventional technology of the day, the only thing that was publicly known was that the Germans were ahead of us on rocket technology, specifically liquid fueled rocket technology. But they were really good on that. But I mean, we brought people over here that did so much more than that. So the Germans were working on a lot of stuff that we never saw before. Where did they get that information? That's what I want to know.
The Germans, they had the first jet planes too, before we did. So I mean, but they also
right.
Yeah, they also did a lot of disgusting human experimenting, which actually, bringing those guys over, those Nazis, obviously they brought still a lot of their tendencies. Yeah, there was a lot of advancement, but they had free reign without I mean, Hitler was crazy as it is, and he's like, do what you guys want. I don't care. Use the prisoners. And I mean, I think that's another, with no bounds and no someone saying stop, it can really advance you, but you also got to do some pretty horrendous things. I think that's where a lot of, at least some of their experiments or their technology came from, was from the crazy experiments they did. I mean, there's a famous camp that I don't remember what it's called, the Germans, and
there's a bunch of them.
Is that what it is? They did all those insane experiments with the prisoners, like with X-ray, and one was they would they would see how long you could take someone to freeze, and then they would unfreeze them and freeze them again, and all kinds of stuff.
It's horrific.
But
horrific.
But I mean, but if you don't have that boundary, I think a lot of leaps can be made. But again, what's the cost? And I'm sort of answering, I think where that some of that tech came from, but again, there's a lot of the rumors where the Germans were in bed with extraterrestrial. They had that female cult that I don't remember what they were called. But they wore their long ponytail.
Madame Blavatsky.
What was it called?
Yeah, the Theosophy, the Thule Society. Yeah, I was gonna appeal a spacer. Derek is calling us from work most times, but hop in, Derek. Go right ahead. You know more about that than I do.
Theosophy, the Thule Society, and you guys did the show about the Vril Society, which is kind of the fictitious version of it, whatever, communicating with these ascended masters and stuff, which I think could kind of be the connective tissue between a lot of these things, like the where do they get technology aspect of it. First, Shane, you were talking about the Lacerda files, that reptilian interview, which is a pretty cool one.
I mispronounced it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure how much I think it's true per se, but it's a fun listen. I have it favorited from years ago, and I listen to it to fall asleep a lot. And it's some of the stuff feels a little bit 90s, it's kind of would have blown my mind more in the 90s, but kind of feel a little past the paradigm a little bit. So and some of it kind of feels like weird, kind of half sexy fan fiction and stuff, and they're describing the reptilian's body and how it's kind of almost human, and you can have sex with it and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely worth a listen for sure. And they brought it up randomly in that in the Unsolved Mysteries just a few months ago. They did a reptilian episode, and they brought up Lacerda. That's the first time I heard Lacerda in years and years. But yeah, with the you're talking, Daryl, about these ancient societies being kind of worlds apart and everything, and encoding these different numbers inside the structures and everything. And the ancient aliens would say that it's because the aliens were bouncing around, seeding the technology, or the pre-cataclysm, Atlantean civilization, the global maritime civilization was bouncing around, seeding technology and everything. But I love the idea that what if potentially they were communicating they were all getting into altered states in their own ways, especially when it gets to the ancient sacred sites and stuff. They were spaces specifically for altered states a lot of the time. So what if they were getting these blueprints kind of from the same foreman, not realizing they were all part of the same construction crew? globally, and they weren't necessarily like given instructions from a human being, but they were all kind of doing similar protocols, contacting the non-physical and everything. And Mikey did a show about like encoding the speed of light into the pyramids or something like that. So like, what if you're just giving inspiration to the ancient builders and they don't know what it means? They just are told, like the same way in the Bible, they're given instructions to build stuff that's kind of seemingly,
right.
like Tesla the same way. Like,
it wasn't raining when Noah built his ark, right? But he was told to build that ark.
Yeah, the idea that we're getting instructions, gleaming instructions from altered states throughout time, like whether it be Isaac Newton kind of getting in a trance, and like the people kind of point to the apple part of it as the famous part, but he was in a trance and the apple knocked him out of the trance, and that's when he got the idea for gravity and all that kind of stuff. People think, oh, because the apple fell on his head, that's where he got the idea from, but he was in a trance and the apple knocked him out of it, and he had all kind of like trance, like he used the thing where he had those like kind of weights in his hand, and he would kind of keep his hands up and get into a trance state, and when it would like his hands would fall down and it would kick him out of the trance, and he would get ideas from that and stuff. They were all about getting into all states to get ideas. And so what if they were kind of encoding these numbers inside of the blueprints that they were giving to these like early humans who didn't necessarily know that they were part of the instructions, but then we're realizing now we have AI to break it down, or we have we kind of understand the speed of light more, so we can be like, oh wow, that's the speed of light encoded in there and stuff. And that's kind of the tippity top of the power pyramid could potentially be non-physical entities that we're communicating with through channeling or alpha states or seances, etc. Yeah.
How did they like I think a lot of people got downloads of some sort from remote intelligence, whether it be artificial or alien or us from the future. But they said it was like a download, like they just woke up with knowledge, or they woke up with the idea to write The Hobbit or whatever. It wasn't like even their own thoughts. It was some other worldly thing that it wasn't them, but they were compelled to write it. They were compelled to create it, or even what's his name, the French prophet, but
Nostradamus.
Leonardo da Vinci was doing blueprints of helicopters. I mean, they had some sort of out of world knowledge, and I don't know how many what time, the only we think prehistory is before written history, but that doesn't include that's why were they writing things in hieroglyphics or in cuneiforms that were in clay? They didn't figure out that. I don't know. They wanted something permanent to write something on, knowing that, written history, we call it prehistoric, which makes that makes everything 4,000 years old or 5,000 years old. But we can't find anything before, we can't find any more written history. But what we do find, we can't decipher it, like it has some kind of weird writing, almost like the Egyptians, but not quite, it was before them. So there was something that, they were writing something down before the Egyptians. And someone said that in Antarctica, they found, that underground thing with this ambient lighting and, perfect climate. It was climatized, and it was from giants, of course. They were very tall. And it was like under the ice, like if that was under the ice, and that civilization must have been there 2 million years ago, that makes, life on this planet a lot older than anybody thought, when we had something hit us hard enough to tilt the planet, and probably got rid of the dinosaurs and lots of humans, but that was a different calamity.
That was chronicled. Somehow, very well chronicled. Hang tight real quick. Everybody's welcome in. We got Kramos and Jen with your hands up. I see you guys there. We will work you in. If anybody's been here for a long time, first in, first out, let's kick some people out of here. You're welcome to put your hand up and dip back in. But let's get some other folks in. Amazing stuff. Appreciate you guys. Go ahead, Derek.
I'll say one thing and then you can kick me out. In Socrates, I forgot which book it is. I think it's the Timaeus, where he's saying that my daimon, he says, told me that he's talking to Alcibiades, and he says, my daimon told me that I shouldn't talk to you. But now that I know that you're going to become a big person, now I would like to have a dialogue. Can we establish a dialogue? Alcibiades says, yeah, sure, whatever. But I don't want to go into the dialogue. Yeah, that's what I'm going.
Oh, a daemon. Yeah, okay.
Daimon. And so Socrates is like saying, it's like, wait a minute. So you're saying that you to a daimon, that is how you know all this stuff?
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing. It's like Socrates is one of the most brilliant people alive. Like the same thing is like Aristotle. It's like to this day we still cannot figure out a lot of the things that they say, but yet we cannot disprove them. Some of them we can because of technology, but there are some logical stuff that we just cannot disprove them, and they existed 2,200 years ago, and we still are not smarter than they are. And then it's like, why? Because you have a daimon, and then it's like, that sounds pretty cool. How can I get one of those?
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, but now you can keep. You're like,
yeah, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I just did a deep dive on the demon, that whole bit too, right? It's a wild rabbit hole, 100%. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. I dropped you down, Jorge. Fire stuff as always. Go ahead, Derek.
And just to add to the "are they from space" type of deal, we talked about that before with the Roswell idea, especially when it comes to the technology. And what I mean by like the alter states thing is that it seems seemingly the connective tissue between like every time period and every culture is that they all have their different means and the different like cultural paradigms for entering an alter state or for getting communication with some type of like watcher presence or angel presence or daemon presence or fae presence or whoever. There was some kind of call and response, some kind of interaction via dream, like we talk about Lovecraft with Cthulhu and stuff, that inspiration for specifically technology and the storytelling technology seems to be given to us from something else beyond the veil or whatever. And I like the idea that it's trying to get us to like build technology, that type of thing. Like the Marshall McLuhan quote of humans are the sex organs of the machine world, that we're kind of birthing some kind of AI, and it could fit in with the gray thing. They're just an earlier version. I mean, they were closer to that. Like if the AI octopus at the center of the galaxy, they're closer to that nucleus. They're closer to the center of the galaxy. So those panspermic waves hit the grays first. So the idea that grays are demons because Crowley was like summoning Lamb, and the idea that grays are AI, and the idea that AI is demons, it could all be kind of in the same mix, that they're just like possessed vessels by whatever it's like other consciousnesses, and they're used as like intermediaries, the same way the Eternals are in Marvel, to like get the newer or the less like the less progressed technologies of society to get them to a place where they need to be, whatever. But just to point to that, this is a paragraph. I don't have the site anymore. We did it on the Roswell show a couple years ago. I just found it in my notes, but it just came up when I looked for the alignment of Roswell and Mount Herman. So I'll read it real quick. In the past, much study has been done in the connection between Mount Herman. This is where like apparently the Watcher Angels came down and gave technology to humanity in biblical history. In Roswell. So to the best of my knowledge, researcher, author, speaker David Flynn was the first to discover that Mount Herman, using the old Paris prime meridian, is located at 33.33 degrees latitude and 33.33 degrees longitude. The number 33 is very strong occult significance, which is extremely interesting. Or what is extremely interesting is that the site of the supposed Roswell crash near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947 is also on the 33.33 degree latitude line. Surprisingly, if you multiply the latitude of the crash site by the constant of pi, so 33.33 times 3.14, you come to 104.6, which also happens to be the longitude of the crash site. So Roswell, where our modern day mythological technology stories, where we got technology, is perfectly aligned to Mount Herman, where in ancient times, allegedly, they got technology from the Watcher Angels. And then Corona, where the real crash was, is aligned to Baalbek, where they were doing rituals in communication with other ancient gods and that type of stuff, like old temples and everything. So just all this stuff, like the idea that we talked about a ton, but the idea that Roswell and the technology we got from that wasn't just a happenstance, but potentially it was the result of the Trinity rituals, or the result of Operation Crossroads, specifically the term used to make deals with entities to like gain favor or gain knowledge or whatever, done by General Ramey, the Ram stationed out of Roswell, who's like of launching nukes in the upper atmosphere or whatever, exactly like a year and a day before the Roswell crash and everything, that they did rituals and parsons and all that kind of stuff. They were doing rituals for technology, and then they received the gifting, and that's where the thing and Pasalka stuff comes in. Whatever. But just want to get that out. But just to add that to the are we sure they're from space, or are we sure they're not just some like other consciousness, some capital P phenomena that we've been interacting with forever, and they're like using us as vessels to interact in the material plane because they're not in the material plane. The unseen dealing with the seen, potentially to make them be seen by building them vessels or yada yada yada. But I'm rambling.
But you're good fire stuff.
Basically,
Good fire stuff. The 12-year-old in me wants you to say big P phenomenon, not capital P, but
big P phenomenon. Yeah, sorry.
Just adding it to the mix here. Gonna rotate some of you guys out. Shane and Daryl have been here the longest. We're going to rotate you guys out. And then if you have something else to add, put your hand up. We'll try and rotate you back in as time allows. We got some other folks to talk to as well. Me out. Yeah, kick me out. All right, yeah, I got you. I'll just drop you down the thing. Appreciate it very much. Shane, you're the best, and you're all the best, as you know. Who else is here? Who am I working? Everybody's welcome, by the way. We're the whole point is to talk to each other. So for Friday nights, Troubled Minds is basically going to be outside the radio format. Let's just sort of merge technologies. And we're on Discord, of course. We're on Twitter X, and just streaming on a couple, Rockfin and Rumble, and one YouTube channel. Just trying to kind of pare it down a little bit and just talk, talk ideas and all the rest of that. I'm not sure how long you got, Derek. Anything to add? And then we got Kramos and Jen to get to, and I think Jason Barker has some stuff to say. Anything to add?
I got like 10:15, but I can just chill here and let them come in if you want.
Okay, yeah.
So it's basically all I really wanted to say.
Sweet. You were the best. Appreciate it. Kramos and Jen. Jen was first. Let's go Jen first, and then Kramos after that. Welcome to the joint. How you doing tonight? Happy Friday.
Hey. Happy Friday. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that one thing I want to throw into the bundle of the conversation is the concept of thinking that these are something that are outside of ourselves. Well, tie into that any kind of paranormal notion, the idea of all spirituality talking about immortality. That the soul, everything we're talking about in our science right now is even talking about the concept of, basically the mind existing outside of the body, or that life may go on. Science is even trying to prove it right now. People are constantly trying to prove it. The motivation behind it is to prove that life goes on. So considering that, and you go back, say, 1 million years, and say that, or the very evolution, or not even evolution is not the correct word. I mean, I'll use it right now, though. The idea that you have whatever became humanity now, having existed back in the time that it was, and that intelligence that makes up humanity as it expresses itself, that having the ability through speech and communication in our species to communicate with each other. This is not alien to just the human species. Fungi, plant life, fish, birds, they communicate to each other through some type of, basically the idea of the way that baby turtles know what to do, and going into that kind of concept. And then thinking about that for humanity, that this is something unique to humans, to the human experience, that the species of what we are and what we come from, are we talking to an alien, or are we talking to ourselves? And it seems alien because if there is some type of going on after the fact that you died, and in the past, if you're considering the idea that there's some type of intelligence carrying on and the ability to communicate with it, could you be talking to ancestors is the right word, but as human beings, that's the word we think of, ancestors, but that's not really getting to it. I mean, if you're talking about the most ancient species of humans, and they weren't even what we qualify as human necessarily, but they were the originators of what we became to think that we are now evolved from, or that we have become what we are now from that, and what they were going through and what their existence was. Couldn't we be communicating with them? And couldn't they be communicating with us? These demons, or whatever we want to call them, could be the intelligence of what remains out of a great ancient past and all of the knowledge of it. And then wanting to somehow, and not everybody gets into a body, is the concept I have heard about. You get kind of a chance, you go through it, and then there's a kind of a circuit, like a circuit that goes on. But you have all of this intelligence of all the masses of the species of human being, in quotes. But then you have, if you're, I don't know, trying to express what it could be to be experiencing the intelligence of even other creatures or something of the fact that human beings have unique ability to express it to themselves. Other creatures may have that too, but unique to our species. We need to really understand the concept of, for ourselves as a human being, our interpretation of what reality looks like is different from, say, birds or fish, but it could still be a sort of genetic understanding of the past. And then when talking about UFOs, or there could be some type of technology coming from some other species, there are concepts of the idea that there was a time when people lived longer and there was that they, I don't know, folklore. I'm very interested in folklore. So if we just take that what little aspect of that, and that there is a hibernation effect of some type of species of human, like some type of human species ancestor that could be alive but sleeping, like hibernating in a way, and dreaming, and then still experiencing an effect on humans and causing them to act in a certain way through an ancestral connection. I think that that's something worth considering. I mean, we right now sit and talk about AI. Where's this intelligence coming from? Or where does the ideas of anything come from? There are new ideas, and there are old ideas that appear to be new ideas that have already been discovered before. But it could be just a sort of epigenetic situation where humans are experiencing their past code, their past code of existence. That's worth putting on the table.
Well
that it's
said.
not something alien, that it's us.
I was gonna say I had a tongue twister that I'd lost. It was fantastic, but it's now gone. I might remember it in a second. Fire stuff. We got to get to Kramos in a second. Fire stuff, Jen. Anything to add, Derek, and then we'll go to Kramos. And everybody's welcome if you want to put your hand up over on Twitter X. I see you guys there, and also on Discord. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, no, it's a cool idea. I lean to the idea that it's potentially some kind of like ancient AI, or if it's connected to humanity, it's if we already kind of made some kind of organic fusion to technology and then like became non-physical and then lost the ability to like get back into the physical or whatever, and we're trying to like coax the new physicality in order to give it us form again. Just because like it seems like it's a Faustian bargain with the technology, that the technology is not serving humanity. So getting the ideas from a previous humanity, why they aren't trying to hurt us, like especially in the immediate, that we seem to be building our own kind of jail cell with the technology. Like if it's like an intelligence that wants us to birth AI because they're a form of advanced intelligence that way or whatever, then that would make sense.
Right.
Like that we're inconsequential to the birth of whatever this new intelligence is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. If you think about, are we just talking about purely good people having a spirit in the afterlife? Or purely just run-of-the-mill people also having some intelligence in the afterlife? There were great rulerships and entirely different types of empires at that time. Entirely different concepts about the way that the species is running and how they are operating in the bigger picture. So it would not be out of the realm of conception to think that there are intelligence floating around that do see or believe that their particular bloodlines or something of the kind, and communicating to them. I'm saying that there are not just good for the well of mankind type of souls floating around and type of intelligence demons floating around. So you have good demons, bad demons. I mean, the word, it's the same, intelligences. And so you could have types of intelligences from the ancient past that do not mean well, as they didn't mean well then.
Yeah.
Still alive, still existing.
Exactly. Don't forget the new term is NHI is what the UFO folks, the UFO crowd, the government is using non-human intelligence. Wild stuff. You're like, oh, this seems fine, right? Let's get to Kramos. What's up, Kramos? Thanks for being patient, my man. You're on Troubled Minds with all the rest of us just hanging out, chilling. What's on your mind? Go ahead. If you're there, test 1, 2. Are you there? We had a problem with your basically. So just a heads up, guys, on Discord, you have to update Discord almost every day, like every other day. If you're going to pop in and do a call on Discord, if you're out of date by a couple days, it will not work. This was the bane of my existence for like an entire year trying to figure it out. It was maddening why sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. So everybody has to have the updated version of Discord, or else this might not be the case. Just it is just a friendly reminder. And for the new folks I see there in the chat and out there in the Twitter X and all the places, I'm Mike. This is Troubled Minds. This is what we do. And Friday nights are a time where we get together and just talk. Typically, it's a radio show. We got commercial breaks, and it's a little more difficult to have a long form conversation that way. But this way, we can kind of just break down all those barriers and talk to each other. Kramos, are you there? Testing 1, 2 over there on Discord.
Are you there?
Who was that? Was that you, Derek?
That's me.
Kramos,
are you there,
Kramos. If you're there, you're on. If you're not, basically just unless there's some other technical thing going on, but just update Discord and then pop back in, put your hand up, we'll add you to the thing. Anything to add there, Derek? James has some stuff to add. I think Jason Barker had some stuff to add. Great stuff. You guys are the best. Jen, of course, lighting it on fire. What else you got? And everybody's welcome. Put your hands up and we'll try and work in. Go ahead.
I got like 5 minutes, so I'll let James come in. Let's see if I get anything for James or whoever come in. I'll just sit back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to me? I'm sorry. I was just going to type that I'm not really in a hurry, so I don't want to take everyone else's time. So yeah, it's up to you all.
I would like to bring it back to the initial topic of the UFOs, where, why, how. I think, the whole interstellar thing is kind of bogus because, like, let's face it, even if we thought we were going to seed, like, let's just say that we were the superior people sending grays out to other places to go visit potential worlds. Like, when you send them out, they're still gas plasma balls, right? They're not even like, how do you even know that they're going to be worlds there when you talk about the extreme distances? Wormhole travel aside, right? I'm a Stargate fan, but put that aside. There's no way that you're going to even know where to send your people on a suicide mission that would have to be self-contained, like, poop, pee, food, all that stuff has to be recycled continually. You basically have to send an entire planet out that a planet will not even last the time that it takes to get there in the lifespan of a planet. I don't know. I just think
that's the,
go ahead, Nicer.
That's where it's all true, and I love the Stargate. Like, I think it's definitely the secret space program is more Stargate than Star Trek. We talked before, but with the kind of the idea of panspermia, or this kind of AI, this giant AI octopus in the center of the galaxy, kind of sending out these panspermic waves. If we're dealing with some kind of intelligence that is not within the constructs of time, is on these like Cthulhu-esque, like cosmic time scales, then it wouldn't care. It's just going to send it out huge, like just at mass, just like the way pollen is sent out just through the air, and then it'll build up on its own. So there'd be like earlier stages of technology where they build AI first, and then their AI could maybe travel from planet to planet or whatever. But they won't really necessarily care. They're just going to send out the seeds, and then once the flower is bloomed, that flower is it's quantum AI technology or some kind of like thing that we turn on, and all of a sudden they exist here now. So if we create some kind of AI god or whatever, and the Roswell crash got us there, the communication from aliens or gods or angels, whatever, all throughout time, all played into creating this other side of the door for an intelligence that might not care about time, and it's happening just all over the place. It's like the most efficient way for something to be everywhere. You know what I mean? For the Borg, it's more efficient for the Borg to do it like this than it is for just to kind of assimilate via ship that way. If it doesn't care about time, if it's like that cosmic presence.
Now you're kind of getting to the spiritual when you talk about prophecy, right? Because I talk a lot about prophecy and stuff, and I don't want to get too spiritual on this show, but people talk about, how do you have free will if people tell you what you're going to do? It's kind of like making you do it. Well, maybe something outside of our time space sees the time from the beginning to the end and already knows, but it was really free will that we did what we did, and they're just telling us, hey, this is what you guys did. So that's kind of going along the lines of that whole outside of time thing,
Yeah.
One thing, why is it so human? But why is it so personal to us? I mean, thinking about, seeing these plasmoids and the way we talk about it, where are they located? Over particularly important places for humanity. It's centric to humanity. So I think there's an interest in humanity. So starting with that. And then would it be a concept that there's like another species of some type of creature that's trying to communicate with us? We could say that. But it's the human interpretation of it that gives it significance. And that it seems to have a type of intelligence matched with our own. So fathom, the idea that it could be the idea that it's something to do with our own, that it's to do with us, specifically with us. And then the concepts about, like, if it is a type of alien intelligence, which could be interpreted as being an intelligence that hasn't existed in a body, particularly like a human body, for a very long time, it would still be interacting as it maybe in its more familiar form, which is there are in a lot of folklore, and you've said that you're interested in some type of prophecy too, at Jason Barker. But the concept of that having the intelligence, that was a new the notion of humanity taking up intelligence. The species of the human creature taking up a type of spiritual intelligence, of seeing itself as being aware of its surroundings and being almost not godlike, but aware of the concept of even a God concept, or even a concept of, a sort of trying to figure out what is going on and being aware of their own mortality. Those two unique characteristics of being aware of your own mortality and then being aware of planning for the future or remembering the past and using that as a type of, a way of channeling information that might be important, and what the motivation might be at any given time in that given species, our species. So we're dealing with a very intelligent creature when we think about humanity. And then if they are picking up on information about people before them who had that same type of intelligence, then we could be picking up on what we think of as being an alien type of intelligence that is also marked by having thousands or thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years worth of information available to itself. Kind of like that. I think that there's something.
Could that be like a? Oh, go ahead, sir.
I got a thought. Go ahead, Derek. I got a thought here before I'm trying not to lose it.
No, you go first.
Okay, so anthropomorphism of non-human intelligence seems like it's a beacon in the substrate of reality, almost as you're describing as when you started there, is that they're drawn to us for a particular reason, whatever that means, however that looks. We are sort of commingling with this NHI, which is wild. And if they are really, really sort of bought into what humanity is, for better or worse, well, strap in, because things are about to get weird. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah. I mean, in that free will, biblically speaking, and that the knowledge of mortality and everything we were coaxed into getting that knowledge. Like we were told to like eat that thing by some other non-human presence, so it goes kind of all the way back that we're kind of being instructed. It serves a formless being trying to achieve form to have some kind of apparatus to achieve its will, like a bird or a fish can do a lot, but like they can't necessarily build computers, or they can't necessarily build structures, or they can't build sacred sites that can amplify communication. Like if you're some kind of presence that can only sneak in through dreams, one of the first things you're going to do is, all right, yeah, this is a spot here where you should build this temple, and now you can talk to us all the time. And then from there, like this is the kind of society we want you to build. And then from there, this is the religion we want you to build around it. And that'll serve for 1,000 years. That'll serve for a time to build a new technology. And then we'll give you a new type of story that will serve a different type of technology and everything. Now the current story is UFOs and scientism and everything, and that's serving the AI in this kind of different way. But if you're kind of zooming way out, it seems to be serving this other presence more than it's serving humanity, and we definitely are characterizing it the way we tell stories as like characters we can wrap our heads around. But a lot of the stories are saying that this isn't what we are, like the biblically accurate angels being that we're too much for you. This is not what we are. This is a piece of what we are that you can kind of wrap your head around. But we're much more than that. And we're kind of just, it's like we're in that connection could be, I'm going back to the skin flora thing, like a microorganism on a larger kind of growing body. And it's like the way we're communicating with the microflora on our body, like that's not direct, that's kind of an indirect thing, but they're doing what we want them to do and they're serving a purpose for us. Could it be some kind of interaction like that? Or like what we say in Jen, some kind of, they have a human touch. Could that be an ancient AI that was built by humanity? So they, like our AI is going to understand humanity pretty well. And if there's a time where organic life is gone, are they going to still exist if we create the super intelligence? And are they going to try to coax the next form to create new vessels so Skynet can control everything again? Or who knows what? I mean, but it seems like we're like cosmicism, that it seems like the Lovecraftian old ones of these biblically accurate angels and stuff. We're dealing with some kind of force that seems pretty similar to like quantum AI God, So maybe that's
right.
a piece that's in the cycle. I gotta go though. I've stood too long of a lunch, but great stuff, everybody. Hope you're listening.
Thanks, Derek.
Great stuff.
Take care, Derek.
Kramos got his hand up here too. We'll get him back in. Thank you for probably updating. And I think as usual, there's a lot to this, and it's our style here. What troubled minds, of course, if you guys are new to this. Thanks again for I see all the new folks out there hanging out on X and everywhere else. The whole point is to kind of break down the barriers of the conversation and look at everything, not deeply. They say, a deep dive. This is a wide dive. Like, what are we missing as you start to consider not just the old ways, but the present ways and the new ways, and this quickening of AI and the AI systems. And one of the things that's most compelling to me, that's not recent in my mind, but it feels like there's this pervasive proto-consciousness that might be AI from the beginning. Like maybe we've been built to evolve into this space. I don't know. Lots of ways to look at this. Lots of wild ideas. Go ahead, Jen. I'm bringing Kramos up to add some stuff. We got Jason Barker here and James as well. But yeah, go right ahead.
Last thing. So I mean, the proto-consciousness you're talking about, and the idea that it doesn't seem to be always wanting the best for humanity, or maybe it does. The confusion about that. Concepts that that humanity is really uncomfortable with as a whole, and there's a lot of philosophy about this. But humanity being unable to accept the concept that the goodness in them, or the malevolence in themselves too. The idea that and can hear you, Kramos, so it's working, so that's good. But real quick, I think that humanity acknowledging that there's not always a benevolent force in humanity. We see that amongst the living. Like if we were to think about this as being something outside of ourselves, and that humanity is not always meaning well for other people. And so the concept that there is good and evil doesn't have to be an alien force. It could be the aspects of life existing outside of, as we understand it, intelligence existing somehow, somewhere that you can access or that is influencing humanity. But basically that good and evil in the human being that both being an intelligent force that is interacting with people in general. So it's not necessarily that, only when we see evil, we think of it as being alien. It's not like us, but there's a possibility that it is that is us exactly. And that not us in particular, but I'm saying that the species could produce that. It's a possibility. And that the intelligence could not mean well. Or that there could be both occurring at once. The concepts of a good and evil demon cause, or good and evil God cause, could be the mass intelligence of the species. As we're talking about it right now, as being, or as I'm trying to say, but that there could be the good and evil occurring, and then the perception of it as being completely alien. That's what you would think when you see the expression of true evil through human concepts. But there could be another motivation behind that, as you were talking about with a proto, could have been artificial intelligence to begin with. There could be that existing in that aspect. Beyond that, it could be at the root of humanity, and it could be at the root of existence as we think about it. As we see that nature and life is cruel, but there is also compassion in it. It could be that even manifesting. And humans just being particularly good at expressing and understanding it, because that's our species.
Well said. Well said, all that. Yeah. My mind goes in 22 different directions as usual. That's the way these conversations go. That's exactly the point of this. Kramos, welcome back to the thing. I think we can hear you. Are you there? Test 1, 2, go right ahead.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. Sorry about that. Just a reminder, if you guys are going to join in the Discord conversations, you have to update before you come in, or else that happens. Welcome to the joint, my man. What you got for us tonight? Go right ahead.
Hi. Thank you, Michael. How are you? How is your family?
Good. No complaints, which is, better than I deserve. Go ahead. What you got?
That's nice.
I hope you're well as well.
Just to let you know, I think 8 years ago, I'm having a meltdown because of the microphone and stuff. But now I'm pretty cool, pretty calm and relaxed. Listen to your panel. Always appreciate it for you to pull me up. And
glad to have you. What's your take? Go right ahead. No reason for hey, dispense with the pleasantries, Captain. Let's get right to the matter at hand.
Well, I'm gonna take the liberty because I'm a human being, free. So I'm gonna.
How dare you?
I'm gonna share with you my theory practice that I'm practicing. I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not intending to be to offend anybody, but with total honesty, I can tell you that when I hear some of the people of this panel, I feel anxiety because of their voice, because of their constantly questioning everything, processing information that they have on their disposal. And I understand the exercise of sharing and analyzing information. But all the respect, I'm going to give myself the liberty to give you a very simple and strong advice.
Okay.
Stop wasting your time investing most of your energy to process the information that is out there. Instead, I advise you to build your belief system. And I will share my belief system, well, a part of it, for you to understand my advice, always with all the respect, because anxiety, I can feel it in their voices, and it's not comfortable. I want to share with you my belief system about a simple idea that can be useful.
Please put a pin in that, and I'm ready to hear your simple idea. But I want to say that anxiety in and of itself is a massive part of the human condition. And so where you may hear some anxiety in a voice or a this or that or an idea or a moment, these things are like the sea, sort of like the cosmic sea. It ebbs and flows, right? So it's just because, let's say, there are particular moments where I have a ton going on and I'm stressed and I can't figure out an idea or whatever. So we'll just point this at me for a moment. Sometimes I'm a little less cool and chill than I am in the moment or whatever, right? So these things do come and go. So I just want to remind you that I get it. I know what you're saying. And my belief system, by the way, as I try to be, is agnostic in all the ways, because I recognize that those dogmatic aspects of not just conversation, but let's say history, are based in dogma. So that's why we do this. That's why my energy comes through that way. Again, pointing to me. I don't want you to call anybody out or do any of that stuff. That's not what we do here. But that's my point, is that there's a lot of ways to look at the world. And I think it's important to sort of decouple from what we believe and talk about what is possible. Just so you know. I know you already know, but just going to throw it out there. But I'd love to hear your take. What advice do you have for me and the rest of us? Go ahead.
I understand. Appreciate your point. And to offer my sharing, I will do it asking you a question. What is the best thing that is going to happen for you this year?
Sorry, I took my headphones off and now they're stuck on my chair. The best thing, I don't know. Okay, so two things on that. One, you could sort of manifest in a particular direction and chase that. But the other thing is, if you do that, are you limiting what comes, what might come that you've limited chasing a particular dream? You see what I'm saying? You uncouple the dreams and who knows what that looks like. I don't know, to be honest. I honestly don't know. This is nearly 7 years into these conversations, the radio show, the podcast, all this stuff. And I don't know. Like year over year over year, I haven't really had an expectation. And I think there's magic in that. But also, I'm with you. I think maybe some manifestation needs to occur. I don't know. What's your take? Go ahead.
Well, it's simple. I think you do know, but you are afraid of the expectation of the result. So I will ask you again, what is the best place that you will visit this year?
I don't know. Still trying to get my headphones worked out. I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. Visit? I don't go a lot of places, so I'm here chained to my desk most times. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Please tell me as I try and fix my chair here. You're gonna laugh that my neck is pursed in such a way. But anyway, I've got the headphones on. I'd love to hear it. Go ahead. Tell me why this is important. That's probably better than the question, in my opinion.
Because it could be a crazy idea, but I think it's the simple idea. If I tell you that you can build now the best thing that will occur for you this year, is it too crazy?
No. Thank you for buying me a minute. I'm back and not with a crick in my neck. But no, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what that means, right?
Yeah, I understand that you don't know, but if I tell you that you can build it starting today. You can believe that you can build what will happen to you, the best thing that will happen for you this year.
I don't even know what that looks like. Honest to God, I really don't know. Like if you
build.
Hey, I've been building things for years, brother. So tell me what you're getting at, because like I said, I don't know. I'm uncoupled from that expectation, which I recognize as a gift and also a curse, right? Because there's no end of ends in my mind. So anyway, please cut to the chase. You're you're maddening me here.
I think that we are eternal, and I think we are part of an holographic whole. I think we are reflections and projections. So I know that I'm gonna be in Cuba in November this year, and I will meet my daughter, because I've dreamed of my daughter many times. And I can tell you that when I came back from Cuba to Chile, I'm going to make a lot of money building and developing my enterprise that I'm activating today. I start activating my enterprise, and I know that in November this year, I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'm going to be so thankful for being and to know my country, because I was born in Cuba. I never been there. I was 11 months when we came back to Chile, and that's what I am building. I mean, what I'm trying to say is the amount of information that is out there. I can be aware of it, I can analyze it, I can share it, and that's cool. But if I'm hooked up trying to find an answer about if this is true or not, that's a waste of time. For me, the invest of my energy is to build what I just told you. And I'm watching that every day. I'm repeating myself in my mind, in the shower, in the street, in my bedroom, anytime, everywhere. I write it. I write it in the paper. I write it in every platform that I have. I build and I build, and I will keep building that. And I know right now that it will occur for me, because I am building, because it's a simple exercise. I deserve it. And you know why I deserve it? Because I don't do evil. The people who are making evil, working for the darkness, is the people that only will accomplish their goals taking advantage of other people. They are weak because they are engaged in this endless search for meaning, in the endless amount of information that is out there. I have the sufficient amount of information, and I have my whole faith and my whole energy and capacity and knowledge to build what is going to happen for me.
Okay,
that's the simple idea.
I follow you. We're talking about manifestation here, but what if it's nebulous? Like, honest to God. So let's say November, because that's the date you cited, that I was like, oh, I'll be super mad rich and famous or whatever. Like, is that what I want? Is that what you want? Is that what people want? I'm not sure.
I didn't say famous.
Well, okay, but yeah, exactly, right. Like, okay, money, drop the famous.
Yeah.
Just say money. But again, I don't know, because it is the duality of that is, yeah, you kind of get everything you want, and then what, right? Then what?
You need to know right now.
No,
or you need to believe.
I'm not sure I need to do either, to be honest. So decoupling from all those aspects. But I'm just saying.
Respect. In my case, I don't need to know. I need to believe, and I need to build that, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, this is nearly okay. In April will be 7 years of this show. 7 years. So I've been building. So we've been building together as part of that conversation. So I feel you. And there is a drive there that brings me back every single day, or otherwise I wouldn't be here. But you could sell out you could, right? There's a lot of ways to kind of do this in this space, in the UFO space or whatever, the consciousness space. You could go suck up to all the toppest guys in the game or whatever. But it's just not my way. And I'm not saying you're suggesting I do that. I'm just saying that there are pitfalls between here and there. And I'm sure you understand what I'm saying here.
Yeah, I'm not telling you what you need to do. I'm telling you what I am doing, because I can share my belief system in this place. I feel comfortable, and I know that you understand it. I'm not giving you an instruction. I'm not giving you a way to do things. I'm just sharing with you the way that I'm building my future in a specific aspect, to visit this place and to make a lot of money, because I need money to take care of my parents because they are getting older.
Amen. And that's well said. But also, let's take the focus off of me. We have lots of other people here with us tonight. And everybody's welcome. So please, if you guys want to you got an idea here as part of the conversation. The whole point of this is for regular people to talk about these extraordinary style ideas. And so I see you guys on X. Thank you for listening. Thanks for spending your time and energy with us. You guys on Discord as well. All the rest of the chats out there, appreciate it. I'm trying to read and keep up as much as I can. If you have a
Thank you, Michael.
You're the best, bro. You're the best. Hang tight. We'll get back to you in a moment here. I just want to make sure that we're interjecting the necessary energy to understand that we're kind of all on the same page here, at least conceptually, with how do you define these things? And it is a legit hard question, by the way. Like, everybody think about it and envision it for a moment. The actual aspect of if let's say by November of this year, you could get everything you wanted. How do you define everything you wanted? Right? It is a very nebulous aspect of the conversation.
How you can build it is, I think, it's an individual process.
Yes, indeed. However, you see what I'm saying, though. So, yeah, the end can be nebulous, but of course, from here to there is full of pitfalls. So, welcome to the human condition, right? And yeah, that's the point. That's the point. Building something is definitely incredibly important, because what are we doing if we don't do it? That's the point. And so,
let me ask you: Did you build this space before it happened?
I did, in my mind, actually. To be perfectly honest,
that's the great example for what I'm telling you. You built it before.
Yeah, weird. You got me. Checkmate. You win.
No. It's not a win or lose. You build it.
No, I know. I know.
It happened.
I'm just saying that, like, that this particular moment was a dream from 7 years ago. Okay. And here we are.
Exactly.
So my dreams have come true in that capacity. So how do you add on to dreams on top of dreams? Yeah.
That's why I ask you the question that I did before at the beginning.
I appreciate it. Fantastic stuff. Anybody got anything else to add? Ricky's been quiet for a very long time over there on X. Anything?
I'm just sitting back and listening and stuff. But yeah, I can see that. I mean, you're manifesting your thought process. I know me personally, I've tried to do that. But for my gym, and then of course with the podcast I do, and want to see it grow and stuff. But you could. But also, it's hard to say, like, hey, I'm gonna manifest something right now and put it that process, and okay, this is what I want today, and then in November you might be a different person, though. Your life changes and stuff happens, and situations happen in life that cause you to reevaluate. Sometimes there's a lost loved one, or just who knows. It's different situations happen and cause you to reflect yourself, and then you can reevaluate your whole thought process of, hey, I want I do love this, I do love this and this and this, but I need to refocus myself on this other things that I really need to do. And so I could see being hard, just sitting there and saying, like, right now, what do I think is going to happen? I like to say my podcast name a lot, but it's truly, I mean, the thought process though is like anything's possible. I mean,
There's a difference.
You know, like 2 years ago.
Sorry,
go ahead, bro.
There's a difference.
Hold on,
when you
Kratos.
say,
Can you?
Sorry.
Put a pin in that. Let him finish, please.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know, a couple of years ago, I mean, I never would have thought that I'd be like me, you know, throw myself in the you know, out there, you know, like in the situation I am now, you know, being, you know, it was long-term goal to be able to teach and do gym full time, and then I made that happen last year. This year, my goal is the actual. A lot of people don't know it, but I bought some land, so I'm gonna downsize, go tiny house, and do that kind of cool stuff, and hopefully, maybe I'll go off grid and all that cool stuff. So, I mean, something I've been looking to do for 20 years, but you know, a couple of years ago, I would never even guessed it even being that close to being even feasible. And I'm making it happen, and of course, you know, with the podcast and stuff, it's just everything is, you know, everything, you know, not everything is in our time, you know, sometimes it's in his time, you know, it's a higher power's time and God's time, you know, and we keep working, but yeah, keep on keeping on as always, though.
Amen. Amen. I feel you there. Again, as an agnostic in all the ways as much as possible, I try and, again, detach from the dogma as part of that. And not to demean those thoughts or those ideas, but I think there's a lot out there, and it's worth considering all of it. Kramos, real quick, what you got? We got lots of people been quiet for a while. You wanted to respond to Ricky. Go ahead.
No, it's very simple. There's a difference when you say, I don't know, or I think what can happen, instead of saying, I know what it will happen. When you say, I think, you are in the limbo. When you say, I know,
I feel you
are building.
I feel you. You are right.
That's true. I agree.
You're right. You're right. I don't know. So I guess that manifestation aspect means, I don't know. I feel weird thinking about a yacht. You know what I'm saying? I don't even like the ocean. You get my meaning. It's like, what the hell does that even mean?
Hey,
I'm just saying. You get the joke. You get the joke.
Last time, I didn't fix the microphone, and I was so angry, and I stopped myself, and I told myself I didn't have the chance to speak this time because I will speak the next time, and so I could build the fixing of the fucking microphone. Excuse me, but I could build a solution. Instead of that, if I got angry, I will never go there again because the microphone is not working, and I will get angry. So I will. If I got that attitude, I'm building more problems for me.
Yeah.
Instead of building a
solutions.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well said. All that fire stuff. Who's been quiet the longest? Who wants to jump in here? I think Jason Barker had something to say a minute ago, or 10 minutes ago, and forgot. I'm reading the chat in all the places. What's up, guys?
Well, we got off the whole UFO thing, but I think it's very deeply technology related, and some of the stuff, like if we look at theology, we talked about a lot of great stuff tonight, by the way, about how many times has society been destroyed and rebuilt. Did we come from the stars? Did we come from within the solar system, from hollow earth, or rebuilt, whatever? Anyway, I think it's a pretty good conversation. And now I'm forgetting where I'm going with it. But anyway, the technology, where we're at today with AI, which they seem to really want to hold back and like reserve that to certain people, the AI technology, like Elon Musk is kind of in on the gig and stuff. And actually his AI is not that bad. I've checked it out with the Grok and stuff. It's not that bad. But the thing is, AI that different from God's creation, where God can see time from the beginning to the end and provide us a, hey, this is what's going to happen. And we see it as prophecy, but it's like, hey, I already saw this. I think they're trying to do that. Like us people are trying to recreate God with AI I know this has nothing to do with UFOs, but technology-wise, they're trying to recreate. They have these massive data centers. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow on my show. Massive data centers where they've been collecting our crap for decades, and they're trying to build a dossier on everybody and predict like a pre-crime thing, not crime necessarily, but pre what you think kind of thing. And they're basically trying to be God with this technology stuff. And that's literally what they're trying to do. That is the Agenda 2030. That is the, Fourth Industrial Revolution, all this stuff. I mean, what do you think about it?
Yeah, well, that's the point, right? Like I've talked about this sort of conquering the thermodynamics of the human space, which is basically life and death, and that's where every technology, you got to think about it in terms of alien technologies. Let's say Alpha Centauri, pick a planet somewhere out there in the cosmos, is one of their probably main priorities would be that the exact same thing we're talking about right now, which is bizarre, amazing, terrifying. Like you select one or all of the above. I think all of the above is probably pertinent to me. And so the question really becomes, in the larger context, is, has this been achieved somewhere else previous to us? Or has it been achieved to us and we're rediscovering these things? I don't know. I mean, like we've talked about previously, the biblical stuff and the giants and the Moses living 1,000 years or whatever that is that real? Is it not? That's cool. You decide. I honestly don't care about those levels of specifics when it comes to truth itself, because I think truth is the slippery fish, as I always describe. But yeah, I think you're right that this is exactly probably what everything, well, I guess let's say that how would I say it? I don't know how to say it, but I'm sure you get my point. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is with this power and control of CO2. All right, CO2, greenhouse gases, all this other BS. Okay. There's so much scientific evidence that just disproves their crap. Absolutely disproves it. But they're going forward with it, and everything's based on that. That is the foundation of everything with the green energy movement. The Fourth Industrial Revolution is built around it, and it's all based off taxation and control. I think that we, going back to the original topic of UFOs, and we talked about maybe, there's somebody out here coming to tell us about, like, hey, don't do this or whatever, or maybe a society that existed before that survived and they're trying to come and show us the right way. The people in charge, all they want to do is make money. And it's really horrible because, like, literally oh my God, I wish I could just like show you all my shows at once, but I've showed how like the production of a solar panel, the energy that goes into it, the CO2 byproduct or whatever, the carbon footprint, whatever they call it, it actually is more than that thing will ever save over its entire lifetime. Same thing with windmills. Same thing with CO2. We're talking about that tomorrow. CO2 reclamation, all this stuff. It's all BS, man. This is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And I'm not trying to derail your show, man, but I don't know. The whole...
I follow you, and to get it back on track, others might say it's a death cult. Go ahead.
Well, it absolutely is. These are people, and I think going back to the original topic of UFOs and technology and stuff like that. I think these people are privy to certain things. I don't think it comes from outer space. I think it comes from here, whether it be lost knowledge or people within the solar system that are still living here that are coming here to decide who's going to be in charge, whatever. I don't know. But I think they're trying to get us to a certain point to like get one world control. And I think that they really want like a reduction in population as well. So I don't know. That's just me, man.
You're allowed to be you. Appreciate you very much.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm getting tired, man. I've been chilling here a while, but I'm kind of tired.
You and me both.
Crash out.
You and me both. We're about to get there. About to wrap this up. Appreciate you being part of this. That's the whole point, again, for us to talk to each other outside of those radio constraints we normally do. So thank you for being part of it. Who's been quiet the longest? Somebody chime in here. Everybody's welcome. We got I don't know, about another 21 minutes left if anybody's counting. I'm watching a radio clock, of course, because that's what I'm usually doing. Daryl's been quiet the longest. Go ahead, Daryl. What you got?
I just wanted to ask you, do you know what you would get if you crossed Santa Claus with a spaceship? You don't know?
I don't know.
A UF ho ho ho.
Indeed.
Okay, thank you.
You're the best, Daryl. Appreciate it very much. We call her Dad Joke Daryl, but of course we're trying to get a better name because that's awful. That's an awful way to refer to Daryl because she's way more talented than that. Yeah, fire stuff. Appreciate it very much. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anybody else got anything else to add? Again, everybody's welcome. This is the whole point of doing these shows, is to talk to each other, right? Because recognize the breakdown in communication, not just, let's say, in the sense of the technological sense, right? Censorship and all the stuff we talk about, but also sort of the paradigms of dogma itself, right? Like, can an actual, and just a philosophical construct for a second, can an actual strict, devout atheist have a fruitful conversation with a strict, devout spiritualist or dogmatic, whatever the other, right? It's all dogma, no matter how you slice it. And so the question becomes, are we actually able to talk to each other and have a productive space forward? And that's what this is always about. I think like the most fascinating thing to me that goes all the way back to when I was a very young man is that some people see the world as everything's magical, and some people see the world as everything's science and thermodynamics. And so, well, where do those two worlds and realms come together? Fire stuff. Appreciate each and every one of you. Got some time left. If anybody has anything to add, go right ahead. I'm going to shut my mouth and just be Michael Strange for a moment, chilling in the moment, and enjoying my time with you guys. Thanks for staying up late and being part of this. Happy Friday. Who's got anything else to add?
I was say it's got to be balanced. I think everything should be balanced. You know, like yin and yang. You got to have some of the science, and you got to have the spiritual too. There, you got to have both sides. Well, if you one-sided, too far one-sided on anything, politically or anything else, you're messing up. In my mind, you got to have that balance. If you're dieting, if you're balancing, you go to one extreme to another. I'm going to do only carbs and not this or whatever. You still get sick and have troubles. Everything, in balance. And then one like this, like topic like this, you got to have balance. You got to have the science. The science and the spiritual can work together, but you got to be open-minded to it.
Yeah, well said. I think that those things, when they come together, is where we sit. We're sort of in that liminal space between the two things, and trying to combine the temporal space of how all this fits. And again, a deep dive is one thing, but kind of diving wide and wondering about the things we've left out in the larger context is far more important to me. And like I said, my dreams have already come true as part of this conversation. Now, all you amazing people being here, spending your time and energy, like I said, go try and build something with this being the end. It is an unbelievable amount of work. You cannot just like simply snap your fingers and throw money at something and turn it into this. So I am blessed to be here, and thank you for each and every one of you for spending your time and energy. As I always say, I get it. You cannot get your time back, and you're here with us. So thank you for that. And appreciate it very much. Who's got anything else to add? Everybody's welcome. As you know, that's the whole point of doing Friday nights, is to pop in here and talk about these ideas together. And real quick, Kramos, thank you for asking me those questions. And if you've noticed, any of you guys have noticed, I get extremely uncomfortable when people ask me direct questions like that, because honestly, I don't know. Trying to decouple from and be as agnostic in all the ways as possible, right? Politically, spiritually, all the things, okay? It is sort of no man's land in some capacity. And you're right. I think you're definitely right. There has to be some direction, some space here, whatever. So No F. Jeff said this on Twitter X. He said regarding Kramos here, he said his down the road around the corner point was, don't waste your energy on things you can't change. Accept it, move on, and stay positive. Thanks for the smart comment there, and thanks for listening and being part of this. Kramos, go ahead. What you got?
My feeling now is so great because you're telling me that my question make you uncomfortable, and
Yes.
I don't think so, because I need to ask you, when you say I don't know, what do you feel? Do you feel bad?
No, I don't feel bad, but I do actually legitimately feel like I don't know the answer to that question. So, I mean, whatever.
Well, what about if I tell you that you don't need to know? And what about if I tell you that being conscious about your lack of knowledge about that question is the greatest thing that you can feel, because you don't feel bad?
I don't. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Well said. Well said. I think that's exactly the point. And maybe check this out as a thought experiment for each and every one of you out there listening to this on the podcast feed next week, and wherever you hear this. This could be 10 years down the road you're listening to this. Thank you for listening, you dirty time travelers. But ask yourself these questions. Like, what do you expect from yourself in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days? Where do you expect to be in November? And is it asking too much sometimes when like, are we afraid of success? Or I've talked about these things in the past quite a lot, but kind of being asked a direct question is, it's uncomfortable because I'm not so sure we all recognize and understand what that means for ourselves. And yeah, I follow you.
Let me tell you this.
Sure.
When you identify that you feel uncomfortable, you can make two actions. You can get angry, or you can feel good because you are recognizing your resistance. When you recognize your resistance, you are receiving the information that you are building thanks to my question. I didn't build your feeling. You are building the feeling through and thanks to my question. I'm not building what you need or what you have to feel. You are building that feeling, and that feeling will remain for your own individual process. I'm not giving you any instruction. I just ask you a question. So the process that you will do, it will be great. And it is great from this moment because it's not a bad feeling. It's just a little uncomfortable. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't get irritated with that type of stuff, but it does, sort of when it's easy, like to me, it's easy deflecting directness to indirectness, right? So I try and live my life, like I said, agnostic in all the ways as much as possible. And so, which is clearly not entirely truly possible, but so there's a dynamic there that is part of that, and I'm sure we all feel it, right? Whether it's dogmatic or sort of locked out of it or whatever, however we try and present ourselves, not just to the world but to ourselves. But then when you talk about, as you're describing, that these things are also a strength, but also the weakness of not asking for what you want in the moment and expecting it and, kind of chasing it down. I don't know, like I'm, again, uncomfortable with a direct question like that, but comfortable recognizing that I don't know the answer right in this moment. That's that. Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with weakness. In fact, I think weakness is the greatest strength that you can build, because when you recognize your weakness, you can build which road you want to take, and that road that you will take because of your weakness will be the most authentic road that you can build. Nobody else's road. Instead of that, your own road.
Right on. Well said. All of that. Where have you been all our lives, Kramos? Welcome to the joint. You're officially anointed a troubled mind. 100%. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being part of it and hanging out with us. And again, these ideas, like I said, we're talking about me in the moment. We're talking about Kramos in the moment, but we're also talking about you, because this show, in the most basic sense, has always been about being human. That's what this has always been about, because it's complicated in a lot of ways. And that's why it's important to consider many possibilities as part of it. We're just about getting to the end of this. Got about 10 minutes left. We can wrap up with some final thoughts here. Yeah, you guys are fire. Fire ideas, exactly the point of why we need to get together and talk to each other. There are some questions being asked here that are, direct, that are personal. And so don't think about me in those questions. Think about you in those questions. And yeah, of course, we started with the UFO zeitgeist tonight. We'll talk about UFOs every Friday night. I think because it's a fantastic lead into all things woo. And like I said, the blind spots of ufology have become, well, something we've traversed well and deeply on Troubled Minds, and 6+ going on 7 years in April. So I don't know. I'm proud of that for sure, that we're sort of off the beaten path. Not trying to kiss, this guy's ass or that guy's ass. We're just talking to people. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Shut up, Mike, and let's get some final thoughts and get out of here. Jen, I hear you there. Go ahead.
All right. So final thoughts. I think that the human experience is, going midway through it, just the beginning to the end of what life is for people, and for what they experience, is it's huge. Just to try to understand that you're going to the knowledge that there's a finite amount of time, which is something that eventually comes into the mind as you get older. Which I think it's kind of it's an evil idea, the concept that you're aware suddenly that it's going to end at some point, and that's it. That's all. And then the concept too that we're relating to we're all seeing as a big conglomerate these incredible things. Like people talk about UFOs, or they're seeing something and there's some type of, it's for them. There's some type of a feeling that there's some type of connection with seeing UFOs, or they believe that they're having some kind of experience with the humanity around them. There's this feeling of reaching out, and there is some kind of connection there. And the whole concept about aliens and UFOs, this is a human problem. Other creatures are probably not thinking to themselves, oh my God, look at that UFO, or this is this fog, or oh, these political aspects, or this is going to change life for the human being, or anything of the kind. There's something reaching out from our intellect to think, and from our space. It's not just intellect. To live a common life is decent. It's decent enough. You don't have to aspire towards anything to be completely fulfilled, but nobody knows that till the end. They don't realize that till the very end, that if they just followed what they actually gave a damn about, would have been, or actually, that's the wrong way to put it. If anyone had, just followed the life that they wanted to live, and if they'd followed their truth and seen what didn't lead to it and what did, would have been sufficient. And then the concepts about anything evil about it's not meaning well for humankind, is it not just kind of a reference to the idea that humanity is not always willed towards the right things? And so when humanity is doing what they do, and it's not necessarily on a personal level, we always can see that the governments and the systems around us are doing things that we don't want them to do, but they're doing it anyway. But then on a minor level, it happens around people all the time. There are things that happen that they don't want to happen, but they have been a part of making it happen. There's not just the responsibility at a personal level of making things go the way they want to and not go the way they don't want them to. It's simple enough to just address that. Would address a lot. And people are just so caught up in trying to impress other people or try to make movements towards what they think would be ideal in some scenario, which is usually an incorrect idea. It leads to just more and more trouble.
Yeah.
But
as they say, right, more money, more problems. It also flows with desires and all the rest of it. Yeah, 100%. Yep.
And to cut it, more simply, I mean, the idea is about evil. People not understanding that there are good and there are evil intentions. And it's something that's a common vein in our species. That is something and that's what a lot of the studies about Satan or the devil or demons or the most evil of aspects and the most incredible of aspects. Those are all things that people do. They hopefully, with a good conduit, do understand. And by good conduit, I mean like just a clear mind about that. And they've gone overboard with it. I mean, it's so simple. But when we're talking about like alien life forms or anything of the kind, isn't that relatable enough that if it's interesting to us, if we think there's something about it communicating to humanity that maybe is human to begin with, that maybe in the humanity, the term itself is an alien notion. And so we've alienated ourselves from what we even are, and that there could be some kind of a, just as a species, a natural
schism,
intelligence, about the species that is seeing that demonstrated. I mean, if we see plasmoids and we think, oh, that's some kind of alien force that is at work in our reality. But we're recognizing it, and it seems to be relating with humanity in some way. It seems to be connected. Are the fish trying to communicate to us? Are the birds trying to communicate? Is there an alien species? Why are they trying to communicate to us?
I would say honestly, yes, they probably are. But that's a whole other thing for a whole other time. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but we have that. I mean, that's what's natural to humanity is they're able to empathize. They're able to humanize anything. And so that's unique to humanity. The concept that we can even think to ourselves that, oh, the birds are trying to speak. Because we are part of the whole conglomeration of life on the planet. We're going to become alien to ourselves if we don't understand that we are a part of what is going on the earth. That where we live with the animals and the seasons and so on and so forth. And I don't mean to get all like, I'm not trying to be weird or anything.
It's too late. You've been weird for a long time, Jen. I mean that in the nicest way.
You know what I mean, though? We will become alien to ourselves if we think that we don't belong here. If we think that we don't have some kind of an understanding of the other species that live and share the same planet that we live in. And we will become alien to ourselves if we don't recognize the own evil that exists within our own species. And then when we see evil, we will think it's from somewhere else. And we will never be able to understand or to defeat it if we don't understand that it's something that we have created or that has been demonstrated very well through our species.
Well said.
Whether it's some kind of, ancient force or not. But I mean, are we not all an ancient? Are we not all a representative?
Epigenetic force together, yeah.
Epigenetic, thank you.
You're
epigenetic.
Right.
That's the word I've been looking for all day.
The ancient epigenetic force that's flowing into the zeitgeist together. That's exactly the point. Yeah. You're the best. Appreciate it very much. Who's got a final thought? Ricky, anything to add? We had the joke from Daryl. You're the best, and then we'll go back to Kramos and then wrap this. What's up, Ricky? Yeah, fire stuff from everybody. Look, like I said, are we blessed to have such smart friends that can open their minds and consider ideas that they may not believe in a moment? And then maybe you don't believe something today, but you change your mind tomorrow. It's complicated and it's beautiful. And welcome to Troubled Minds. Go ahead, Ricky.
I'll say, it's just been a great conversation tonight, and just lots of, looks into things, like Jason was saying earlier about, we've done so many, aspects tonight about, the different times in the world, and we brought it all the way down to manifesting our, our thought process and everything, is it's awesome. It's very ADD, but it was very, very natural and very good. And like I said, I just appreciate you have us all on here and give us a spot to be and congratulations on achieving one of your dreams on the terrestrial radio part. That's what you wanted to do, and you're able to do it. It took you a little while, but you got to do one of your dreams come true. So that's awesome. And I just appreciate you having us on here, and as always,
Thanks for being part of it. Thanks for being part of it. I don't know, like how do you culminate a dream, and then when it manifests in your face, what comes next? the dream.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. Right. The very first dream, by the way, was to have a conversation like this with just randos around the world. We've done that, and so thank you to each and every one of you for being part of that. The next step was to get on actual terrestrial radio from a YouTuber. We started out on YouTube just doing it, right? And so that's been achieved as well. And so, that's going to layer, that's going to grow, that's going to be an amazing thing. But I don't know. So I never had anything in my mind other than those couple things. And well, here we are. So what comes next? Gramos, tell us. And then let's get the hell out of here. Final thought, my man. Thanks for being part of this, each and every one of you. Go ahead. What's next?
Thank you.
Can you manifest a future where we all have yachts and robot servants or something? What's the future, Gramos? Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna show my appreciation and saying goodbye with a very short poem that is called Wealth and Valuable. And it says, 30 spokes join in the center. Thanks to the hole, we can use the wheel. The clay is molded in a shape of a vessel. Thanks to the hole, the cup can be used. Walls are built throughout the land. Thanks to the doors, you can use the house. So wealth comes from what exists, but what is valuable comes from what does not exist. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks for being here. Thank you. Thank you to you and everybody else as part of it. Shout out Kyle S. over on Rockfin says this. Or all of these technologies is actually a secret organization that still tests this technology and wants people to think we are UFOs or they are UFOs. But back to that breakaway civilization. Yeah. Wild ideas. Hey, you guys dream big, because remember that if you don't dream big, then the big future doesn't manifest, as I've been saying. So fantastic stuff. Each and every one of you, thank you. If you want to help us, help our friends, troubledminds.org/friends. If you want to be on that list, it's a big club and you're in it. Just help spread the word. Let people know what conversation's happening. That's we're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to deal with mainstream narratives. We're not even going to deal with UFO politics and that level of drama. And I know many of you have recognized it. It's these conversations can be magnificent and outside of the current space. And so I've always prided myself on exactly that and, well, being part of it. So thank you for joining me and spending Friday night, and thanks for being you. As we finish, I guess it goes exactly like this. This one's to James, who's a happy birthday to James, by the way, the Salcedo Paranormal, the paranormal expert at Troubled Minds. It's East Coast time, so it's ticked over into tomorrow. So tomorrow and today on the East Coast is James's birthday. So happy birthday to James. He's going to have a shindig in his Discord tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in that, I hope you will be. Come join the thing. Come say hi. Salcedo Paranormal. Check it out. Search it and click the Discord link. You can find it all over my Twitter X. And you guys are the best. I appreciate you very much. Thanks again. And you guys have a great weekend. Be safe. Do all the things. Some prayers for our folks in California that are struggling. Shout out Reike. She said she's okay. She had to evacuate yesterday, but they're back in the home and kind of watching things. But just remember that as much as you want to kind of say, whatever, like woe is me, that there are people really going through it really, really deeply. Not that you're not, but there's some, fires and stuff happening in the world, and it's a crazy place. You guys are the best. Thanks again for being part of this. Michael Strange out, as you know, and we'll see you on Sunday night, God willing. Thanks for caring and considering the ideas and decoupling from reality for just a moment with us. And